So I'll start off by just briefly mentioning that you may have remembered from before when I talked about how I guess this is session 3. You guys steamrolled through Death House in 2 sessions. Um, that Death House is a hook into Curse of Strahd. There's many ways you can enter the campaign of Curse of Strahd, and Death House is one of them. So we've completed Death House now. It's sort of meant to be kind of a tutorial, entry, way into the lands that you're in. And it's also with people kind of not as having as much D&D experience, getting to know the tools like Owlbear Rodeo or Radio. It is Radio in my heart of hearts. All that stuff is it's sort of like it's roughing it in, and so I think we're pretty much roughed in and good to go. And I think that there's enough rule knowledge that, with the exception of maybe, you know, there could be a situation where we might decide to go easy on a certain um, you know tragedy or trauma or whatever. We're gonna go and start playing rules as written. So um, no more, I guess, tutorial mode, if you will. So be careful. Certainly think about your decisions before you make them. Be familiar with your character sheets. If you have any questions, ask those questions, by all means. It's an open table for that. You don't
So
need
you
to
can ask
rush
any
in.
question before you make an action, like, can I, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely, yeah. And
Okay.
even amongst yourselves as players, if you want to just discuss things strategically, diplomatically, whatever, like have an open discussion about those things. Because once you make an action and once it's done, it's very difficult to retcon that and go back. So just kind of, yeah, we're in it now. Um, Jay is holding off on his oath of devotion or whatever oath he's going to take. He's going to pause that for now, and same with Ento. She's going to pause making a decision on her subclass until um, she's had some time to think about that. So moving
Sorry,
forward,
guys.
no worries. Moving forward, you ended last session having freed the spirits of Walter and Rose of Alda and Thornbolt from the haunted Durst Manor. There's a big hole in the ground where Durst Manor once lay, and you are sort of adjacent to a little garden with a little kind of ruined little tower. I believe you've buried the remains of Thorn and Rose. Sounds weird to say Thorn and Rose. It needs to be Rose and Thorn. And you would have gotten a long rest that night. The spirits would have looked out for you for that one night, so that you're all rested and recovered. Before we jump into things, is there anything else that anybody wants to do um, before you make a decision as to where you want to go?
I would like to bury the halfling skull that I picked up um, last time. Um, Somewhere in the little, nice area that we buried Rose and Thorn.
Perfect.
Probably just dig a little hole and
Yes,
maybe.
the halfling skull is old, and it looks like it's almost mummified, like it's dried and mummified, and maybe it had something applied to it to preserve it, some kind of pitch or something like that. Um, and yeah, I think it's a good notion for your faith, your cleric background for sure.
So I'll probably have said a few words of, you know, I don't know what the halflings believe many different things, but you know, some words to lay it to rest.
Okay,
What
About
time
all
of
I
day
can
is
do.
it?
it's morning, early morning.
Is there anything in the ruins of the small tower that would allow us to climb up and get a good look at where we are?
Yeah, with your dexterity, I think you would be able to find a way to scale it. The tower is, I want to say 20, 25 feet tall, maybe. The big stone blocks would have been made to build it, and some of them are missing. Some of them are kind of half falling out and crumbling. Um, what was probably the sturdiest of the tower is what's still standing. Everything else has kind of fallen away from it. So you'd find a way to climb to the top.
So I ask Elanil if she'll join me up here so we can try to figure out where the hell we are.
Does you think I know where we are?
Yeah,
Oh.
he does.
Okay. Is my dex good enough for that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's decent.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you have anything with your ranger thing here, love? I'm just gonna quickly pull up your class skills because you have some things with respect to that, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. The +3 survival. I have survival and natural explorer. Particularly familiar with forest.
You're adept at traveling and surviving in forests.
Mm-hmm.
That's your favorite terrain. And you have proficiency bonus is doubled for skills when you make int or wisdom checks related to forest terrain. So if you'd like to give me a survival roll, um, you will be able to double your proficiency. You may need to actually create like a custom skill. But why don't you just roll me a survival check and add 2, I think, because your proficiency bonus is 2 right now. So add a survival check and then just add 2 to that number. And tell me what it is that you want to try to divine here.
What are we looking for, Drez?
How to get back to where we were or where we are, or some sign of civilization. It doesn't involve walking into a house of things trying to kill us.
Great.
Isn't that what we're here for?
Wasn't there like
Trying to
a
kill the stuff that's trying to kill us first?
wasn't there like a road in front of the house, or did I misremember that?
You do not misremember that, no. There is a road that you guys were traveling on a road in a westerly direction, and then you came upon a house, and the road would have continued towards the west, but you were unable to go that way because of the mists.
Okay, so I'm going to be looking at the lay of the land and looking for where the road is headed, see if I can see any signs of habitation or anything that seems interesting that we could travel towards
Okay, give
and
me a
hope.
survival roll +2.
Hell yeah.
22.
Very nice. So with that roll, I will say that from where you're standing on this tower, you can see the clearing that you would have walked from where the Durst Manor fell into the earth. And you can see the road kind of cutting through the tree. Like there's a definite cut in the forests where the road travels from east to west. Um, the direction towards the east is more socked in and foggy, and then the direction to the west appears to be clearing more steadily. Um, the the trees to the very distant in the very distance, probably maybe an hour's walk, the trees look to be um, getting more sparse, and they might kind of turn into a more of an open space. Um, Beyond that, you see what looks to be maybe an overlook, and it might open up into a bit of a valley, but it's getting a bit too misty and too foggy at that distance for you to make out any details. There are more forests to the north. It's very dense to the north, and it looks like you can see what looks to be the silhouette of maybe foothills, maybe kind of more rocky, more craggy terrain. And then to the very south, you can see what looks to be like a fog, but you're based on that roll and based on your knowledge of natural terrain. It looks like humidity, like it looks like the fog or the mist that would be associated to like maybe a body of water or a riverway, and that's to the south.
What do you think, Ranger? Which way do we go?
You're muted.
I know I'm muted. East was the creepy fog bank.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Which direction did we come from? East?
From the
East.
east, yeah.
'Cause, and then west, it looks like the trees are clearing.
And it was less foggy to the west.
Yeah. So we either go west or south, because usually things live around water. So
And the
west or
road is
south?
running east-west?
The road runs east to west. There's no road that you can see that runs south. You'd be going through thick forest.
Guess we're kind of forced to go.
Yeah, I think we just go west.
Go west.
So are you heading back to the house and hitting the road and hitting west along the road?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, crag and thick forest to the north, river running to the south. We've come fog to the unnatural fog to the east. I think we move west.
And the road goes that direction.
And the road goes that direction.
Okay. As your party advances towards the west along the road, you notice heavy mists rolling in, kind of across the road and around you. It's not the thick, creepy, socked-in mist, but it's a heavier mist. It's creeping between the weather-worn trees like gnarled, ghostly fingers. The air carries an unnatural chill in this early morning light, and the hush of silence falls over the woods around you like a burial shroud. As you walk, something catches your eye, a hunched silhouette in the fog, watching silently from the underbrush, and then, as quickly as it comes, it vanishes.
The shape or the fog?
The
Sorry.
silhouette.
Okay. Well, that was
Hunched
creepy.
silhouette. I mean, could we tell whether it was like a man or a woman, a human, halfling?
It was too quick, but definitely something.
So something's tailing us. Or moving with us.
What direction, like from us, was the silhouette?
It was towards the north.
What do you guys think? Should we go check it out?
I'm not opposed to checking it out, but I don't think we should get too far off into the foggy woods. We might lose our road and direction.
Are you
Sounds
continuing forward?
disorienting.
Let's continue forward to keep an eye on the woods to the north.
Okay.
Does an herbalism kit mean that I need to go looking around for things as well? Like, does that mean I have some sort of...
Yeah, it does allow you to basically collect herbs, store them, um, process them properly, as a skill of being like an herbalist or someone who gathers or forages for like herbs or medicinal things. You would have to spend time in the woods doing that, so it's like a time investment. Or if there's something, if you notice something, like if I describe something in a cave or in a grove, like a mushroom or a plant or an herb, or if you have to collect a plant or an herb, like Kingsfoil, say, like in Lord of the Rings, you would have proficiency in
Okay.
locating that and properly foraging for it.
Because with my natural explorer, if I'm in forest, then I can do other things and still be alert to danger and move stealthily at a normal pace. I
Okay.
guess. Okay.
What would
So-
you, if you're going to walk along the road, is there something in particular you're looking for?
I mean, just keeping my eye out for useful things. And like, was the shape close enough that I could like go check out its track without the group losing track of me?
You would be departing the road and into the forest and into the underbrush to do that.
How far away was the silhouette? Could we tell?
I'm going to say your best guess would be between 25 and 35 feet away off the
So
road.
not too far.
That's not
I'll
too
go with
far.
her and help and see if we can find out what maybe the tracks were.
Do you want to go
Take a
and
torch or something to make it a little easier to see if you wander further?
Okay, so just so that I'm clear, are you going to be still traveling in a westerly direction along the road, or Love, are you and Drez going to be going to actually investigate where that was?
I think we'd have to stop and go investigate it.
Yeah.
We should
Yeah.
probably do things as a group.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. I was just thinking it's 25 feet, which is in a turn of movement for everybody. I think most everybody,
Not me. 15.
except you. That's right. I forgot little one. So
Little
I thought
one wearing heavy
it was
armor.
fairly safe, but maybe
you
not.
could-
Maybe it's a good idea.
Cora could jump on somebody's shoulders and she would get her 25 feet.
The
My
big
cat
dragon.
or my rat has faster movement than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
My rat will ride in one of your pockets to cast guidance.
I will allow you to do a survival check, a nature check, or an investigation check, either of you two, if you want to try to see if you can figure out what that was or if it left anything behind.
Okay. Well, gonna do a survival check then.
Nice.
Wow.
Ooh, nice.
Nice rolls.
Didn't even need the guidance.
Okay, so
Party of one. She's got it all.
a quick look of the area. You don't see any tracks. You don't see any broken bramble or any of the telltale signs of someone breaking ground through the underbrush. Nothing appears to be undisturbed. It looks pretty pristine.
Okay.
That's not good.
So we go back to the group and report that there was no trace, even to my skillful eye. So pretty sus.
Creepy
Yeah, that's
people
it, I'm
in the
leaving.
woods. Great.
Yeah. So I guess we can continue west because I'm probably not going to follow something that leaves no tracks.
I'm thinking about going back to that garden.
The garden that was protected.
Well, any protection that the garden afforded would be gone as soon as Rose and Thorn were laid to rest. It's now just an abandoned garden.
Probably should have asked him where the hell we were before we laid him to rest.
Well,
I
nobody
mean,
has
we
speak
know
with the dead, so.
we're in Barovia, right?
I had picked up that deed and hold on, let me see what I wrote. Did it have any sort of like description of like located in a province or like anything describing where the property is on it?
Well, let me scroll up to see. I don't think there's anything particular about the deed. It was just a deed to Durst Manor. So it would say that it's in the valley of Barovia. Yeah, both the manor and the windmill, because I believe there was a deed to the manor and the windmill. It would say that they were located within the valley of Barovia, the realm of Barovia, I guess.
No like address or anything.
No, no address.
Well, I'll communicate we're in Barovia, which I think we already knew, but I'll tell
Did
that to
we?
everybody.
Did we know?
I think we knew just from the what we found in the house.
Okay.
Well, we knew. Didn't we know from the letter that we found on the corpse?
Yeah, the messenger's letter.
That's
right.
right.
Oh, okay.
The one where Strahd was my pathetic servants, or whatever he is. He says.
We know it's a valley now.
No,
though.
the
I
one,
don't-
the first one we got, the one that was written by Gay.
Off of the messenger,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
asking for help.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hail to thee of might and valor.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, the burgomaster of Barovia.
Right.
So are you guys continuing west, or what's the plan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Continue west.
We're gonna continue
Keep
west
going on the road.
So your footsteps quicken on the path, boots squelching in the wet brown mud. Gray tinged light filters weakly through the treetops and then darkens. An enormous avian shadow overhead briefly blocking out the day. It disappears, leaving not even a stir to the air in its wake. Not moments pass before the daylight blinks out once again, this time by a reptilian silhouette that soars across the heavens, bat-like wings spread wide. It too
What?
plunges into the mists, devoured by the fog as dozens of tiny bird-like shadows flit among the ancient branches far above. The birds' silhouettes follow the dragons into the mist, and silence falls once more. More visions come, fleeting and ethereal, like whispers on the wind. A tall, slender figure looms in the darkness, feathered wings spreading elegantly from its back before it too melts into the shadows. In the distance, a broad-shouldered silhouette lurks among the moss-covered trunks, the shadow of an axe across its shoulder as it slowly curls a clawed, swollen hand. It holds your gaze for a moment, and then fades back into the fog from whence it came. A final figure, a tall, cloaked silhouette sitting atop a horse, whose shadowed mane seems to ripple like flames, flickers in the fog betwixt three ancient yews. It seems to appraise you, its presence palpable even from a distance, and then a roll of distant thunder echoes across the skies. Before you can even blink, the figure is gone, the forest falling silent once more.
So this shit's just appearing all around us?
Yep, you get the sense that what you're seeing isn't real. It has a dreamlike quality to it. It's not something that seems like it's happening in front of you. It doesn't seem tangible. It seems almost like a vision, almost like, you know, an experience more than reality. And as these silhouettes fade and disappear, the mists fade and part, and you can see the road clearly heading in a westerly direction in front of you. And it continues further west.
So we were just measured and allowed to pass, basically? Is that what you guys are thinking?
I think it's all scare tactics.
Trying to keep people out of their domain.
I
Good
mean,
point.
either way, or we wander into the creepy forest, or we keep going on the road.
Yeah, we don't have much of a choice. So keep going.
What were the shadows of the stuff flying specifically going in any specific direction, or are they just like flying any which way?
Flying any which way, which is to say, it's not significant.
Right. Okay. That's more or less what I was trying to figure out. Okay. Yeah. Westward. Yeah.
Yep, keep going. About how far have we traveled? How long?
I'd say about 30 to 45 minutes or so.
Okay.
So it's still morning.
Still morning.
And is there anything in the horizon we can see that looks like we're getting close to anything other than more creepy woods and fog?
I would say that the as you guys are walking, the forest is thinning.
Is what?
Thinning.
Okay.
So if you were continuing,
Go.
sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I said, let's go.
Okay. The dark woods in front of you, as you're traveling along the road here, slowly begin to fall away. And as the trees become more sparse and kind of more dotted, it reveals, as you kind of step out away from the thicker part, a misted, gloomy valley dotted with thick clouds of fog. You're standing on what looks to be an overlook of sorts. In the distance, you can see rolling thunderclouds casting a gray pall over the land below. There's no sun visible in the cold gray light. Evergreen trees climb the sides of the mountains that enclose this valley. To the north rises a stony mount with tufts of trees. To the south, a snow-capped peak with rugged slopes towering imperiously above the land below. The muddy road continues on ahead, passing through yellowed grasses and farmland until you can see it reaching a small, humble settlement hunkered down in the earth. Alongside the road, you can see a river flowing as clear as a blue winter sky. Far above the village, you can see looming a dark, twisted castle standing alone atop a pillar of sheer stone. For an instant, a distant spear of lightning crackles, illuminating the tower keep in harsh lights and shadows, and then a thick bank of fog rolls in, concealing the village and the castle from view.
So,
Does the town look like occupied or is it abandoned?
Looks occupied.
Well, let's
You can see-
finally.
You can
Does
see
the fog-
chimney smoke and chimney fires.
Does the fog look like creepy teleport you somewhere fog, or does it look like just creepy normal fog?
Looks like atmospheric fog, as far as you can tell. The fog that you remember seeing was like chokingly thick. It was like a sheet of white linen, kind of thick.
let's just like hope if we're getting teleported like
Back.
back to where we came from.
To a bathhouse or a
Or
spa or
war.
something.
I don't
Yeah.
think we're that lucky.
Yeah. Let's hightail it to the town.
Yeah.
Castle belongs to Strahd, I assume.
Probably.
That seems likely.
So it's about, you think it's about a probably a 3-hour walk to the city,
Oh,
or to the
geez.
village.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be, depends on the pace you guys want to set. Are you going to set a good pace, or are you going to take a more leisurely pace? How are you guys planning on traversing this short
Be
distance?
pretty quick, I would assume.
You said it's just like farmland and stuff we're going to be going past?
Yep, farmland and little meadows. You might see some pastures here and there.
Do we see anybody like out working in any of the fields as we're walking?
As you're walking, no, you don't see anybody out.
Okay.
There's quite a few buildings that do appear abandoned. The farmland is, like, as you're walking like down this overlook and into the valley, you would notice that the farmland closer to the village appears to be more worked and cultivated, and the farmland and whatever settlements would be sort of further away appear to be abandoned.
Yeah. Well, I think we keep making our way towards the town, right?
With purpose.
With purpose.
Yep, unless we see anybody to talk to or interact with, I think. Keep heading
second
towards the
here.
town.
Is the town walled or gated in any way?
It is not walled or gated, no. Just pulling up the sound set here, guys. Sirenscape is having a rough day today.
Did pretty good with the thunderclaps.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. Okay. So as you approach closer to the town, you see tall shapes looming out of the dense fog that surrounds everything. The muddy ground underfoot gives way to slick, wet cobblestones. Tall shapes become recognizable as village dwellings. The windows of each house stare out from pools of blackness. Not a sound cuts the silence, save for the quiet flapping of wings. Go ahead and make a perception check, all of you. Jeez, love. I'm gonna have to start looking at your dice here and see if there's a problem.
He's on fire.
It'll start going away if we need anything, really serious. Don't worry. I'll start rolling more like Drez.
Perception check, is that the senses one?
It is, yeah. It should just say perception wisdom.
Oh, right here. This is where I'm. Perception. Yeah, baby.
Nice.
Very good. So, perching atop one of the houses within this kind of opening street, you notice a raven. And it kind of caws in your general direction. And then as soon as you notice it, it takes off once more into the air and it stops on a house further down, kind of looking at you. You get the sense that it's kind of wanting you to follow it.
Any of the buildings showing any sign of life?
I'm going to get you a map so you can actually see kind of the general
very
layout
cool.
here of the map. That is the village. And you're going to notice that a lot of these buildings, probably 3 out of 4 of these buildings, are dark, unlit, no sign of life. The front steps haven't been swept. The shutters are closed. In some, you'll see that there'll be a door kind of hanging ajar as if it hasn't been opened or repaired or accessed in quite a while. Some of the homes seem like they've actually been subjected to violence. They've been either torched or there's an arrow protruding from one building. It looked like there's been a sign of maybe a battle or something. Something like that. It doesn't look like it's just normal sort of wear and tear of an abandoned home, but has the feeling that there's been some violence here in the last little while.
And we enter from the east?
You are entering from the east, yeah. So right in the middle of the map, you see that there's a little road there. That's sort of where you're entering.
Okay. And we can still see the raven?
Yep, it's perched on a home just down the street. Basically, kind of, again, you get the impression that it's sort of beckoning you on. I have a picture too of what.
Is it beckoning us like further down the center road or like off on a side street?
Down the center road, sort of in a westerly direction. There's another photo to give you kind of a vibe for what the village appears to look like.
Oh God, it's like Vermintide.
Not inviting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would follow the raven.
Yeah, let's follow the raven. Anybody disagree?
No.
So it makes its way to the center of the town, and then it's one of the buildings. Sort of, there's this intersecting point where a lot of the roads sort of meet, and there's a building there that the raven is perched atop. But in the square, one moment here.
The square is like this third road down into the center of town, or what?
Yeah, so there's like a little center square. I wish I could actually point with my mouse, but
Yeah.
do you see that big red building that has like 4 peaks on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be one of the largest buildings in the town, and there's a square sort of in the center, in front of that building.
Yep.
And the raven is perched on that building there. And in the center, you see a old chipped stone statue standing at the center of this town square, and it depicts a man wearing what looks to be elaborate, ornate leather armor, and it's holding a sword aloft in the air in almost a kind of a heroic pose. And there looks to be a plaque at its base.
Let's go check it out.
So on the bottom, you can read Ismark Antonovich the Great, Burgomaster of Barovia, Bane of Vampires, 618 to 662 BC.
Say that
Oh.
again, or paste it in.
I
Yeah.
can paste it
Live.
in. Thank you.
He lived a long time. This guy, like
Yeah,
40
he
something years. 40 something
Mm.
years. I said it sounded like
Yeah.
44. Is that right? 44 years old. Wow, it's an old man.
Especially when old for hunting vampires.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So is like the sword is just part of the statue, right? That's not like a
It's not a
actual
sword.
sword.
part of
It's
the
not a
statue.
sword that we can defile the statue and take it.
Well, I mean, I was just curious. I wasn't going to take the sword.
Yes, you were.
No, I won't.
Paladin thief.
Oh
Those-
God.
Those dates, like what date is it now? How is that related to current?
It's not a calendar you're familiar with.
Oh, okay.
That was a really loud frickin' bell. Where did it come from?
I turned it down for you.
Can we see the building that's off to the northwest here from where we are?
Which one? The one that's like in the distance, or the one that's right
Mm.
there with the four peaks?
No, the one that's in the distance up there.
Like the one that's has like, it looks like there's like a cemetery around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't see the cemetery, but you would be able to see what looks to be a church at the far end of the village. Yeah, looks like a church in the distance.
What's the building to the? Can we tell what the building to the northeast is?
So there's
The one
a
the Raven's
sign.
on.
Yep. So there's a sign on that building, and if you would to inspect it, it says "Blood of the Vine," and it's kind of like one of those swinging signs. You get the impression that this is a tavern or an inn of some kind.
Thank
Makes
God.
sense. It's in the square.
Mm-hmm. Does it look like it's occupied? Like, is
Yeah.
there smoke coming out of the chimneys? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has two chimneys, one on the north and one on the south, and both of those chimneys are working. There's smoke coming out of it. You can smell wood smoke in the air. You can hear the soft sound of what looks to be or sounds to be like music. You can see that there's light behind the windows there, so there's candlelight or some kind of fireplace going that would kind of give the impression of maybe a cheery little place to stop and put your feet up.
Anybody object to going in?
No.
Where did the raven go?
The raven
On
is
top of the
perched.
inn.
The raven
on
is
top of the
perched
inn.
on the inn. Yep, it's kind of looking
Just
at you, and
looking,
it's tilting
like-
its head to the left, to the right at you.
Down the kind of alleyways that we can see from the square. We can see the church. Are there any other like buildings that look like not houses, public buildings?
So there is a building to the southeast. So you're standing in this square. In the middle of the square is the statue, and directly to the southeast you see another large building. It's not quite as large as the tavern, but it's more prominent than just a house. There is another sign swinging on top of that one if you wanted to get a closer look.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Sure. As you approach, sparse light from this building spills out behind heavy curtains. There's a sign over the door, creaking on its hinges. It reads, Bill Drafts Mercantile.
I'll kind of shrug, and I'm good with going to the tavern.
I think we could use a drink and some food and maybe even a room.
Okay. If you enter the tavern, you notice it's about um, like 60 feet across. It's it's not huge, but it's not tiny either. As you enter, let's change the music here. As you enter, you can hear soft, sort of. It's not highly spirited music. It's pretty downcast. It matches the mood and the kind of the somber atmosphere of this place. There's a heavy sense of dread that hangs within the common room. There's tables and chairs sort of spread out. Some have benches. Some are just kind of normal freestanding chairs. There's two fireplaces, one in towards the north and one towards the south. Um, those fireplaces are rather large, and there's some pretty good fires going in both of them. There's wingback chairs, two each on each fireplace, and what looks to be a nice rug in front. A bear rug on one, and what looks to be maybe like a goat on the other. And by goat, I mean like a mountain goat, like a ram. There's not a lot of not a lot of patrons in the establishment. There's three uh, individuals, humans. They look to be quite colorfully dressed. They're wearing bright, vibrant reds and greens and blues. They're all sitting around a table, not far from the entrance to this place. And there is a proprietor of the tavern, some kind of a bartender, keeping the bar. He's currently engaged in cleaning glasses. He slowly picks up a glass with a clean cloth, polishes it to a fine luster, and sets it aside. And picks up another one and does that kind of over and over again in a very morose, almost mechanical way. And there's a lone male sitting off to the side. He looks to be wearing pretty fine clothes, well-made clothes. There's a sword hanging from his hip. He has well-groomed, shoulder-length blonde hair. It's kind of like a dusty blonde, like a dirty blonde, and he seems to be drinking from a wooden flagon, kind of engrossed in what he's doing, deep in thought. But everyone turns to look at you when you enter the tavern. The group of colorfully dressed people, the young male sitting off to the side, except for the bartender. The bartender continues to just mechanically clean glasses.
Got your
But-
mark now, Drez.
I am not a kleptomaniac. I don't know why you think I am. So the tavern keeper paid us no attention at all. Is there a table big enough for the five of us?
There's 3 or 4 tables big enough. The tavern is quite empty.
So why don't you guys take a seat at the table and I will go get us something to drink.
All right.
I assume
Okay.
ale works for everybody?
I'll sling my pack down heavily on a bench. Do I have a pack? I probably don't. Yeah.
2 of us had packs. I think I had one of them. Maybe Jay had the other?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Go platter my longbow and glaive noisily on the table. Establish my presence.
Entered and everybody looked at us, I would have kind of just nodded at everybody as we made our way over to the table.
Hey, Dress, you're approaching the long, polished wooden kind of bar. The man behind it is wearing pretty simple, modest clothing. It's fairly clean, but it looks like he's been working in it. So there's some flour here, and there's a smudge there, and he's not well kept. He's got sort of spotty, balding hair. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow that's coming in pretty thick and pretty dark. He has a very dour, very muted expression. As you approach, he doesn't even look up. He's just grabbing another glass and mindlessly polishing it.
So just tell him, well met.
Hello.
Hello.
What can I get you?
An ale for myself and my 4 friends, please.
No ale, only wine.
Wine.
Glass, 1
Fine.
copper. Pitcher, 1 silver.
Okay, I will take a picture of your finest wine, and I will take 5 glasses. And for another silver, could I ask you some questions?
He looks at you and kind of cocks his head to the side, and he says, question first, wine later.
So I ask him, what is this town?
Where's the silver? He's gesturing with his fingers now.
Yeah, I slide him a silver.
And he takes it, he looks at it, bites it between his teeth, and he tucks it aside to fold in his clothing. It's a Village of Barovia.
And where is the Village of Barovia? We've been walking pretty lost for quite a long time and not really sure where we ended up.
Yes, I know. You are like all the others who come from away. It is in the Valley of Barovia. This Village of Barovia, in the Valley of Barovia.
What others are you talking about?
We get visitors from time to time. They come, they go, they die. That kind of thing.
Interesting. Tell you what, let me have the pitcher of wine, and we'll be back, and we can talk some more later.
So as you're talking to him, the young male off to the side, sitting at the other table, with the sort of dusty blonde hair, he gets up and he's kind of pulled out of his reverie by the sound of the conversation, and he walks over to you, and he puts his flagon of what looks to be wine on the countertop, and he looks at you, and he has a very friendly expression, and he says, Good morning. Welcome to the Village of Barovia. My name is Ismark. He's sort of waiting as if he's expecting
Like
you
the
to introduce
statue?
yourself.
Marcus the statue, yeah.
Yeah. So I nod at him and say, "My name's Drezek. Thank you for the welcome."
What a strange name.
Well, I'm from a strange land, apparently. What do you do here, Ismark?
I am the, and he kind of looks down a little bit, not sure how to answer the question. My father was the burgomaster of this place, and I'm kind of in charge until it is confirmed. It is a delicate thing.
So, how would you like a refill of your flagon, and you join us at our table?
That is very kind, but in my town, you are my guests. I will pay for your drink, and perhaps you can invite me to your table, and I can meet your companions.
Free wine. Awesome.
Sounds like a deal.
Okay. So he looks over at the bartender. Eric, a pitcher of your finest of the wizard's wine, and some glasses for my friends here, and maybe some fresh bread if you have any left. And Eric kind of looks at him with a kind of bland, depressed sort of expression, and he kind of wanders off to go complete that task. Ismark will follow you back to the table. Yeah, Ismark will go and follow you back to the table. Ismark is a little bit more brighter on his feet. He seems a little bit. He's almost a foil for Eric. Far more optimistic, and he waits for Drez to sit down, and if he does so, he'll follow and take a seat as well with your group.
Yeah, and I pull up another chair for him and say to my companions, no ale, only wine, and apparently it's free.
And who's this?
I'll let my friend Ismark here introduce himself.
My name is Ismark Polyanovich. My father is, and he kind of, his face breaks for a moment, just a fraction of a moment. My father was Kolyan Indorovich, burgomaster of this place. I am sort of in charge. He passed away recently. But enough of that. Our wine is coming. Please, what are your names? I'm interested to know who you are and how you came to come here.
Do we go around the table and introduce ourselves?
start. I'll say my name's Cora. Came here
comfortable to know.
accidentally.
Accidentally. Okay, that is
Yeah.
interesting.
This magic fog teleported us here.
Yes, I know this. You are in the lands of Barovia. It is an interesting place. For as long as we know, surrounded by deadly fog, um, and strange outsiders arriving through these mists. It is something that is we are used to it. It's probably quite surprising for you. I am sorry you have found your way here, but perhaps we can offer what comforts we can, and maybe we can help each other.
You said deadly fog. What happens to people who are in the fog?
Anyone who ventures into the fog, should they not return, uh, they perish. We know from the Vistani who can pass through it that those who do not have the gift, they will die if they go into the fog.
The Vistani?
Yes, the Vistani. He kind of gestures over his shoulder to the three colorfully garbed individuals. The Vistani are a people who also live within the valley. They are not Borovians per se. They are traders, singers, story makers, fortune tellers. They travel, they trade, they bring goods in. They're able to leave the valley.
Or gypsies.
They are able to leave the valley, and nobody knows how. But it is what they are. I apologize for the state of the village. As I'm sure you saw, it is not what it used to be, especially more recently.
The Vistani are the only ones who can leave Barovia?
This is true, yes.
So are you saying we can't leave?
I don't know if you can't leave or not, but if you were to try, I would fear what would come of you.
Do they know how they can leave?
If they do, they have not shared this with us. They are a secretive people, a jovial people, full of life, but they keep their secrets, and they keep us supplied with food and supplies. So we have a comfortable relationship with the Vistani.
What are they called?
Vistani.
Gypsies.
I can paste it in there if you want.
You said that they bring food and supplies. What do you trade with them in return?
We have some economy. We have some gold here, and we grow our own food, and we offer protection within our walls from that which lurks outside. There's some economy in Barovia, but it is certainly is not robust. We pride ourselves on our production of vine. It is the lifeblood of Barovia. We have a famous winery up north called the Wines of the Wizards, and it is quite impressive. You are drinking it right now. It is not the most expensive stuff I offer you, but perhaps you will sample finer stuff later, I'm sure.
How is the wine?
It's decent wine for being served in a tavern. It's not. You've had worse for sure. You may have had better if you were eating at like a nice place, or if you had like a special occasion, or if you were used or accustomed to finer things. It's all relative, I suppose. It's alcoholic. You can feel the alcohol in it.
So I'll ask Ismark if he knows of Gustav and Elizabeth Durst.
Gustav and Elizabeth Durst. Durst is an old Barovian name. I don't know. I've read the name from somewhere, but I can't tell you I can't tell you from where.
Okay. So are the people at that other table dressed in all the colorful clothes? Are they Vistani?
Yes, they are Vistani.
So
You,
we can talk to the Vistani, sounds like.
Perhaps our shiny dragon should go over and talk to them.
With all his charisma.
That's right.
Oh, and our shiny Sork with her even better charisma.
I feel like I'm going to be scaring people away. I think the cleric needs to go.
She's pretty cute.
I'll
Maybe-
grab Jess by the arm and we'll both go. And I'll take my
So-
rat for guidance.
Maybe Ismark can make an introduction.
So as you're contemplating this, the door of the tavern swings open once more, and a woman steps through. She's clad in tattered and a threadbare cloak. Her hair, tied into 2 loops that fall around her neck, is unkempt and tangled, and her wide eyes dart across the room with fearful energy. Her gaze falls upon Ismark, sitting amongst your group here, and she steps shakily forward. As her features come into the light, you see that her face is pale, her eyes blotchy with dried tears staining the flesh across her cheeks. Her voice is ragged, haunting whisper as she says, "Burgomaster Kolyanovich, I apologize for interrupting you and your guests. I need your help." Ismark turns and greets her, addressing her as Mary. Mary, what is the matter? And I am not the Burgomaster yet. It needs to be an election for me to replace my father. But please, how can I help? And she swallows and sways for a moment, collecting herself. It appears as though she's about to faint. It's Gertruda, she says. I think she's gone to the castle. Though her voice is a little louder than a whisper, at the mention of the castle, the tavern immediately falls silent. The music stops. The Vistani lower their glasses and they look over at what Mary is saying. And even Eric, for a moment, stops polishing those glasses. Ismark reels back as if struck, and then his eyes crease with worry. He gives Mary his condolences in a soft whisper. I will organize a search party as soon as the last one returns. He speaks softly with her for a moment, asks her if she's okay, if there's anybody that can stay with her, and then she smiles at him somewhat weakly, thanks him, turns to appraise your group for a moment, wide, sort of pale look, and then departs swiftly through the door from where she came.
Look at Ismark. What the hell was that?
Ismark is sort of looking into his flagon for a moment, and he looks up, and he says that is Mary. Mary is Gertruda's mother. They are family. It is a complicated story. If you have a moment, I can explain.
Sure.
Of course.
So he explains that the village of Barovia recently was decimated by what appears to be a siege from Strahd's forces. He kind of explains Strahd. We do not use his name lightly, but we call him the devil. Speaking his name gives him power and draws his attention. With that explained, he continues to explain that this recent siege left much of the village destroyed. A lot of the buildings were burned and torched. The village suffered heavily. Prior to the attack, many Barovians within the village fled to a place called Veliki, a fortified town to the west. He says that many are still missing, either those that fled to Veliki or those that have gone missing since the attack. Daily, he's sending out search parties across, searching this old Svalich Road and the woods, trying to find survivors or those who fled to those areas during the attack. He explains that Gertruda's betrothed was a man named Doru. Doru, he says, led a revolt against Castle Ravenloft You may have seen it as you approached. It is hard to miss. He explains that Doru and the members of the mob that he had managed to gather never returned. Um, this was before the siege. And then shortly thereafter, Rahadin, he says, he's a servant of Strahd, close confidant, came to our village and delivered a warning. The devil had awoken from his coffin. The villagers of Barovia, we had 90 days to make peace with our gods. He explains some Barovians at this point fled for Veliki, but a majority chose to remain in Barovia and defend their homes. And then just 2 weeks ago, the devil made good on his threat. A horde of undead came to lay siege on our village. We fended them off for a week, but suffered dozens. The siege lasted up until my father, Ismark. Burgomaster Kolyan Indorovich perished in battle. And at that point, he explains the undead withdrew, and they were left to tend to their dead.
So
A lot to unpack there.
The siege started 2 weeks ago, and it ended when your father died. How long was the siege going on?
The siege started 2 weeks ago, and his father passed away 2 days ago, he explains.
2 days ago. Okay.
If you have any other questions for him, now's the time to ask. He's taking a sip of his wine. He unpacked a lot, so if there's any clarifications you guys need to make.
So tell me about this Strahd and this castle. What?
He
Why does
flinches
it?
when you say his name.
Why is why is Gertruda going to the castle?
Doru has not been seen since the attack, and it is theorized that him leading the attack in retaliation, he is at the castle. He is with the devil, and I do not know why Gertruda would go, but perhaps she thinks she can convince the devil to return him if he is even still alive. It is a fool's errand for sure. I will arrange a search party as soon as I can. When the last one returns, perhaps she is still on the road or lost in the woods.
Why would she be going to the castle?
He kind of shrugs his shoulders and talks about the foolishness of the lovesick. Obviously, she wants to go back to try to get Doru, who, last we know was at the castle. It went to the castle with this mob. Just to clarify, the mob went to the castle first. They attacked the castle, and that is when Rahadin came down to the village and issued his threat that in 90 days, they had 90 days to make peace with their god, or gods. And then, 2 weeks ago, the attack on the village came. So Dora went to the castle first, then the Rahadin came down shortly after that attack, said, you got 90 days, and then 2 weeks ago, the village is besieged, and then it ends 2 days from present time with the death of Kolyan Indorovich.
So, okay, sorry, you clarified this already. The town, the Doru attacked the castle first.
This is true, yes. We have always suffered under the rule of the devil. Anything bad that happens to my people, to the village of Barovia, these dreadful mists, we believe is the curse of the devil. This devil of name I will not speak. And Doru is young, impetuous. He was popular, charismatic. He drew what people he could, thinking they could go and kill him, this devil, and rid us of the fog, rid us of this curse. But it was hopeless. And we have now suffered for it.
Was there some bargaining that could have been done in that 90 days, or it was 90 days to get out, or you all die?
When Rahadin came, he was clear. on what would happen in that 90 days. And as soon as he arrived, he left shortly after. There was no negotiating. I think the devil was insulted by what Doro did. And I will not say that he did not have the right intention, but perhaps that was not the way to go about doing it.
Why not everybody just leave? Why not head to Vistani? Sorry, Valakine?
Villaki, yes.
Villaki.
Villaki is fortified, but that is not our home. They live there, we live here. This is where we live. This is our village. We've lived here for hundreds of years.
Drezek gives a exaggerated eye roll.
Hundreds of years with the devil?
Yes, hundreds of years. He has not always been awake. Apparently, he is not now, and he is awoken, is what they tell me. But it has not always been a constant threat looming over you. This is our life. This is how we live. And obviously, things have now changed in the last little while. Perhaps we will need to move. Perhaps it's no longer safe in this village. But the valley of Barovia is the devil's, and he kind of pauses for a moment, is Strahd's. And no matter where you go, he can touch you.
Is Villaki also Strahd's?
Villaki is in the valley of Barovia, yes. And he kind of looks around looking for a map, and I will provide a map. There's one on the wall, and he'll kind of gesture over to it. One moment. That's a 31 megabyte map.
Ah,
Oh, wow.
nice try, love.
There you go.
That is a high quality map on the
That
cover.
really is. I'm not even going to try to paste that into my notes. I'm just going to save it directly.
It's actually like
Loading.
I'm loading it with my browser, and it's like tick, tick,
Yeah.
tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
It's thinking. I was spelling Villaki incorrectly.
Does anyone know what woke him up or what put him to sleep?
It is not known what changed in the last 90 days. Perhaps it was the attack that Doro led that woke the devil. I cannot speculate.
So, looking at this map, can I tell where did we enter this world approximately?
Are you asking Ismark?
No, Cora is looking at this map, trying to figure out like where we
I think we came around where it says East Gate. That's probably where we entered.
Yeah. Because we're at Village of Barovia now, and we're talking about Castle Ravenloft, I assume.
Did we
Mhm.
see a gate or anything in that direction?
You did not see a gate in your travels.
Do I think looking at the map like we should have seen a gate, or we weren't that far into the woods?
Give me I'm gonna say a survival check, because you're trying to maybe use the map to expand your understanding of your travels,
A little
and
hidden
that would be
sight.
like a survival skill. So I'm gonna say that based on the with that roll 16, based on your your morning walk. Essentially, you walked about 3, 4, maybe 5 hours to get to the center of the village of Barovia. That you probably began your journey west of that east gate marker, somewhere in the woods there. You only traveled through the woods for about 45 minutes. And then just based on that timeline, and then seeing how it opens up, and then that overlook comes down into the village, that you probably began your adventure here, to the left of that east gate mark.
Traveling west on Old Svalich Road.
Okay.
That's correct. So while you guys are kind of looking at the map and talking, Ismark does say that there's only so much that he knows about what's going on. A lot of it is he's experiencing it for the first time as well. But he does say that I don't believe you will find answers or protection here in this village, my village of Barovia. But you might find both in the town of Vallaki to the west, where a lot of my people went. There are people there who are more experienced than I. It is a larger settlement, and perhaps you might find both protection from the devil and maybe answers on how to leave in this place. The Valley of Barovia is not friendly to people from the outside. It is dangerous to walk the roads at night. It is best to travel to a safe place before the sun goes down. But if you do plan to go, please let me know, because there is something perhaps that you can do for me, if this thing is what you want to do.
What would that be?
Can we take this map?
It's a huge map. Like it's like I want to say it's like 3 feet by 5 feet, hanging on the wall. And
So can I make a copy of it?
You can make an approximation of it, sure. I'll allow you to refer to it in Discord. I'm not going to delete it, so you guys can make an approximation of it.
I mean, we all saved it to our computers anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
We already saved it.
Exactly.
Where did you get it, by the way? It's an amazing map.
Trolling the internet.
Oh, very cool.
Someone actually made that. They hand drew it or hand designed it on a computer. And
Jesus. So I'm going to ask Ismark a few questions about the map, but just in general, like how long would it take to walk to Castle Ravenloft from here?
It is not a question of time. It's more of a question of whether or not you will survive the trip. It is dangerous to go there. It is not a safe place.
What about to Vallaki?
Vallaki is several days walk to Vallaki. It would be you might be able to get there maybe 2 days if you pushed it. Again, it depends on where you go and the road you take. If you take the road, it will be safer. If you go over land, I can't promise you will survive.
If you were going to go to Vallaki, how would you do it, and where would you stop for the night?
If I were to go, I would take the road and stop at the Ser Pool, where the Vistani make their camp. It is a safe place. And then I would make my way across the bridge north through the west gate. There is an old mill on that road. You might find shelter there. And then Vallaki is probably a morning's walk from the mill. Shorter if you go through the forest, but again, not advisable. I would probably start by making my way to the Ser Pool and speak with the Vistani there. They would probably be able to advise you better. But before you do that, there is the matter of my sister, Irina. She has been visited by the devil in the past. He pauses for a moment here, kind of unwilling to really go into the details, almost embarrassed. He hunts her for reasons I do not know. She has been bitten by him, and I am looking for travelers to take her to Vallaki. There is a place there of safety, a church called St. Andrew's. It is said it is hallowed ground, and vampires and undead cannot enter its confines, and I hope that she would be safe there. But I have the matter of my village. I cannot take her there myself. I am left to choose between my sister and my people, and um, perhaps we could help each other out in this instance.
There's a church in town, the hallowed ground here. He can enter.
The church here has changed since the attack 2 weeks ago. Something has happened. It might be something we can look into together, but it is not hallowed ground, not like St. Andrew's. It is a country church. The father is Doro's father. So the church leader there is Doro's father, who has since gone missing. He is a changed man with the loss of his son.
So you want us to take your sister, Irina, to Vallaki? And you think it's going to take us a good 2 to 3 days to get there?
Perhaps. I have only made the journey once before in my life. My father wanted me to go and see more of the valley as a younger man. Again, your best bet is to talk to the Vistani in the Serpool. They might be able to shorten the journey or give you better advice than I. But yes, I would like you to take my sister from this place. It would allow me to dedicate my efforts to this village. But before we do that, I must bury my father.
You have his body?
He lies in rest back at the house, at our manor. Tomorrow morning is the morning of his burial. If you agree to take my sister, we can bury my father, and you can leave in the morning.
I think if you are okay with it, it would be best for us to talk amongst ourselves and maybe have a look around the village tonight, and we'll give you our answer in the morning.
But of course, I will be at the manor. There is no room and board here at the Blood of the Vine. It is a tavern only. You will have difficulty finding lodgings, but we have room at my manor, and when you have had time to look about, you can come to where I live. That is where Irina is as well, and we will feed you, and we will provide a safe place to sleep as well.
Where's your manor?
He has a small map in his pocket. He pulls out and rolls it, and he points to that large red building at the south.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you for your hospitality. We'll see you this evening after we take some time to rest and resupply, and then we can talk later.
Perfect. He nods curtly to each 5 of you in turn. He has an expression on his face. Go ahead and roll an insight for me, everybody at the table. Damn, Cora.
I was gonna guidance myself, but I don't feel the need.
And then Jay just notices that he's a human being.
Not a halfling or an elf or
Yeah.
a dragon.
He looks like a dude. So you're, I would say with Cora and even just with Drez and Sora and Elanil's roll, those are both great rolls, all great rolls. He has a thoughtfulness about him. There's some melancholy there, but he seems determined, and there's a genuineness about him. that sort of strikes you. You're left with the impression that there's maybe kind of like he has a hopefulness about the fact that you've arrived in the village, maybe a timeliness to it. Um, he kind of nods very curtly. There's a kind of a ghost of a smile on his lips as he turns and walks over to Eric. Eric! And the man kind of turns and looks at him dourly. Anything they need. If they want more wine, you give them more wine. You just put it on my tab. And then he turns after putting a large silver coin on the counter and walks out the door. As Ismark walks out the door, one of the Vistani, a woman, stands up and also walks out the door.
There's still a couple of Vistani at the table, though.
There's 2 Vistani sitting at the table that are left.
Does anyone want to go talk to them?
Well, I'm going to go to the door and watch what this Vistani's doing outside with Ismark. Is there a window I can look out of or anything like that to see down into the square?
Yeah, there's a front window, and
Yeah.
if you're watching, you're going to see Ismark is crossing the square and headed towards that south road, and the Vistani actually turns right and heads west out of town.
How close were they to our table?
Within earshot.
Oh, okay. And so did we notice they were paying attention to us?
Nothing sprung out at you.
Okay.
I mean, you will recall that when the music stopped and everyone sort of paid attention when Mary came in, and the castle was mentioned, obviously, they heard that. So everyone, heard everything, basically.
Got it. Okay. So do Cora and Sora want to go schmooze the Vistani?
Yep.
Sure. Sorry, I'm choking on some water.
No worries.
Ooh, can we take a quick drink break?
Yep, go ahead. How about we take a 5-minute break?
Yeah, be right back.
Sounds good.
I'm back.
Me too. Sorry, all this talk about wine made me thirsty.
I know. I poured myself some wine as well.
I poured myself an old fashioned. I was going to get wine, but
Nice.
changed my mind.
If I didn't have to get up so early tomorrow, I might also get some wine.
Like the fucking alcoholics.
I have cake.
Oh,
Oh,
cake with
cake's nice.
what kind of cake though?
Chocolate.
Ugh.
Is there any other kind? Duh.
Chocolate.
Birthday
Cheesecake. Cheesecake.
Ah, the hell's wrong with you?
What?
I have bits of whisper.
Monk didn't want any of my birthday cake, so he bought himself an apple pie.
We don't judge here.
I mean, the
I mean,
fact that
apple
you've never,
pie's good, but birthday cake is better.
and you've never tried
mean,
cheesecake before, so I don't know how
They
I
were
feel
both
about
from Walmart, so they were both mediocre.
I mean, the pie was pretty good. It had good filling.
I mean, you would know.
Wait, are you guys together right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this was over her birthday.
Oh, okay.
God, do you not know when her birthday is?
No.
You try to date my girlfriend and you don't know when her birthday is.
No, I just try to date her. I don't try to date her. I GM her. No, DM her. DM. I get her to DM
He
me.
slides
I don't know.
into
I don't know what
her
you
DM.
call it. I
I'm
the
his
expression
dungeon
is
master.
sliding into
Yes.
them DMs, though.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
right. Yeah, you're his dungeon master.
I keep him in the dungeon, apparently.
I just think of that
Do you
as
have a whip
Cora.
crack in your DM ambience?
He probably does, actually. Do you have a whip crack, love?
No, I don't. Do I need to get?
Sure, we can find one.
Let's see, what do I got here? I got taking damage,
Oh, wait, one more sec.
open doors, magic missile.
You know what I want with that? I'm gonna make popcorn.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
yeah, go.
Yeah, I'm asking you because I'm making one of your bags.
I mean, you can keep your headset on and continue to participate while you're doing that.
Yeah, I know. That was my intention.
There you
Well,
go.
if she's gonna put it in the microwave, she won't want to because it'll make horrifying noises.
We're gonna find out.
We won't hear it, but for her, it'll sound awful.
It won't be that bad. It'll
Have you
just be.
used the microwave yet with the
I
headset
have,
on?
I have, but I
Yeah.
haven't noticed it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's
You
just.
probably have a nicer microwave than what our apartments have.
I don't know. It sounds bad. It makes me really ponder whether I should be like standing next to a microwave while it's in operation.
I mean, I don't because I actually exploded water the other day and it burst my microwave door open. So I am never
it
gonna
really?
stand there again.
Wow.
It did.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's scary. Usually I'm staring at it going, come on.
Yeah, I microwaved a glass measuring cup full of like vinegar and water in it for a pre-clean. And yeah, apparently the water got down too low and then it made like this huge cavitation bubble and just like exploded. And
That's
it did.
terrifying.
It literally pushed the microwave door open. Did not know it was possible. But
Did
it
it
did.
pre-clean it when it splashed everywhere?
I mean, it did really well. It cleaned really easily.
There's a
But
dishwasher.
would not recommend because it was terrifying. Yep, it was pretty terrifying.
When I was a kid, there was this game I played, and one part of it, you had to distract a flight attendant. And the way you did it was you put an egg in the microwave and it blew up. And I've always been curious what that would look like, but not curious enough to actually do it.
Yeah, people have done that a lot. They try to like poach eggs in the microwave and then they explode.
Yeah,
You can make plasma with grapes
I have heard that.
and red peppers like spark. Interesting.
I once started a fire in a microwave as a child. My sister and I, there was like a package of some cookies, and on the back of it, it had like this, like, for a special treat, put them in the microwave so they're warm and gooey. And my sister really didn't do that. And she didn't want our cookies touching, and she wanted to make sure she knew which cookie was hers and which cookie was mine. So like I wasn't even thinking about it, but the cookies were on a paper plate, and I grabbed one of those twist ties and put it in the middle to separate them. I didn't even think about it until I put it in there, hit start, and then I was like, flames. It's like, oh my god, immediately. I don't know where my parents were, but we told them we burned popcorn.
Smart.
It wasn't popcorn.
Probably didn't smell much like popcorn either.
I mean, it smelled like burning.
Yeah.
Like,
I
thankfully,
still
it was
need your microwaves.
the microwave was fine. The paper plate and cookies were not.
Aw. Poor cookies. Poor lost cookies that you didn't get
Yeah.
to eat.
They were both smoky charred and then doused in water.
It's like forgetting the plastic on your pizza when you put it in the oven.
Gross.
I've never done that.
For the record, I don't think I have either. I just know people who have done it.
Yuck.
I've never done that. Have set fire to a microwave, though. I own that one.
As a child, I think that's acceptable. As an adult, I'd probably question it a bit more.
I mean, if an adult needs to separate cookies so they don't touch on a paper plate, like, that's a whole nother question.
Some people do have issues with food touching.
Yeah, but they're generally not separating them with twist ties.
Generally not, no. Separate plates, though. Actually, I kind of worry about that with Ben, because he'll insist on different plates and different utensils for things.
Does he eat, like, all of one thing and then move on to the next thing?
That's what Crane does. That's what Crane does.
I'm chaotic and I eat it all together.
I know. It's fucking.
That's a girl
horrifying.
thing.
I have to have everything into one perfect bite.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta taste the flavors together.
No.
Yep. That's why
Everything
Christmas dinner
separate,
and
but you
like
can enjoy each one individually.
no, but
Segregate.
they're better together. They're
And
better.
by the time you finish the
sometimes-
first one, the second one's not gonna be as good. It's not gonna be as warm. Like, taste them all.
Sometimes one thing needs to be eaten before the other.
No, don't eat in
Yes.
your car anymore.
No,
Really
it doesn't
funny,
matter.
but
Sometimes,
this is a
like,
male-female thing.
Wow. Yeah, we are
if you
really
get
divided down
Prescience.
gender
French
lines,
fries,
huh?
Drez, how do you feel about this?
You know, I vary. Sometimes I eat it all mixed together. Sometimes I eat it all of one thing and then move on to the next. Usually together, though.
Drez is a hermaphrodite.
I thought that for years.
Oh,
Yes, but
okay.
I like that we have.
If that
we
was
have
true, I'd
proof
never
now.
leave the house.
Wait, why is that determine why you leave the house?
I'd have other things to do. I'd be too distracted.
Why did you ask that question?
This has taken a weird turn
You
that I
have a
did not
wife.
expect.
Yes, it is a
Why
gender
would he-
thing.
Yeah, another thing that females are wrong about.
Wow.
Look at you going and being all wrong.
Is everyone ready to continue?
I think we're
Yeah.
right.
Okay. We have popcorn here, so I think we're ready.
Mhm.
I
I
have
believe
whiskey.
we before the break, Ismark departed to the south. Drez, you spotted the Vistani leaving to the west. I think it was Cora and Sora. We're going to, chat up the remaining two Vistani.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Let me know what that looks like.
We'll I'll go over there and I'll introduce myself as Cora and say it's nice to meet you guys. I was hoping we could get a little bit of advice from you.
They're gonna they were talking in sort of hushed tones when you arrived at the table, and they turn to you as you start talking, and they don't seem like trusting people. They kind of look at you and study you, and their eyes are going up and down your body, looking at your clothing, looking at whatever equipment that you have sort of on your person, before sort of resting on your eyes as you're speaking. And without even saying a word, they just sort of nod at the chair next to them before taking a drink out of their glasses.
Sora, do you want to say anything?
Hi. I'm not as scary as I look.
They do spend a fair bit of time looking at Sora, and you can kind of catch that as when they're looking at Sora, they might kind of look over at Tarhun at the other table, like almost like comparing the two. Like, okay, one looks gold and one looks kind of bronzy, and they're kind of appraising the two of you.
We
One of
must
them.
be.
Go ahead.
We must be quite a pair. You're like a giant dragonborn, and I'm like 3 feet tall.
So the one that's closest to you, Cora, kind of looks and nods her head, nods his head, and says, as he points to himself, like 3 fingers kind of pressing against his chest, "I am called Elinka. This is Sorvia. We are Vistani. What are you?"
I'll say that I am a halfling, and we're very similar to humans, but very short, as you can see.
I know this halfling thing. I have seen you before outside. I thought you were a gnome for a moment. And then kind of looks over at Sora, having clearly not seen you before.
I'm a dragonborn. Not many of us are around anymore. I was lucky to find my companion over there that I noticed you looking at.
Like a kind of, maybe a flitter of a blush kind of crosses his cheeks. But he does look over at the other Dragonborn, Tarhun, and then back at you. What is this Dragonborn? You are dragons?
Not exactly. We have dragon blood and ancestors.
You must be quite powerful.
I mean, sometimes.
Kind of just nods, sort of like knowingly, as if that's obvious. That's quite obvious. And then takes a sip out of his wine again. Is there something we can do for you? You mentioned advice. Not too many people want to speak to us. What can we tell you?
We are new to this land.
Clearly.
We woke up in the mist recently.
Lucky to be alive.
Apparently. I wanted to see if you have any advice on this town, this place. Crap, what's his name? Eastmark had told us that the Vistani are the only ones who are able to leave this place.
He grunts.
Do you think that we would be able to leave?
Are you Vistani?
Obviously not. I've never seen a Vistani before today.
Then no.
So we're trapped here, you think?
He kind of shrugs his shoulders, doesn't say anything, takes a sip of wine.
If you were in our place, what would you do?
Kind of praises you for a moment. You are smart to come to our table and ask advice. I would say you should go to Madame Eva's camp at the Ser Pool. She is... what is the word? Our matriarch? Our leader? Our elder? Yes, you speak with her. She'll have better advice than Elenka or Sovria can give you. But smart to seek Vistani wisdom. Yes. Yes, smart indeed. He takes another swig of wine. He leans over to Sorvia and speaks in a language you don't understand.
Jess, you have any questions?
Kind of answered mine already.
You like ask them about their homeland or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about your people? I've never met a Vistani before, and if we're going to beat one of your elders, I'd like to show respect and maybe learn a little bit of your ways, if that's acceptable.
Kind of looks at you for a long moment, like it's almost awkwardly long, like just studying your eyes. Try to see what kind of person this halfling is before he finally begins to speak. We do not speak freely with outsiders, and I will say you are not from here. You do not know our ways or even that of the Barovians, so I will not be insulted that you have asked this thing. As you say, you don't want to insult Madame Eva when you speak with her, so I will say be honest. Do not be stupid. Do not ask stupid questions. Sorry, I'm listening to the sound in the background. Like, what are they talking about? I don't know if you can hear that or not. Don't
There's
be
another
stupid.
person in the bar.
I know, like, where did they come from? Don't be stupid. Don't ask stupid questions. Show respect like you show you halflings. You have mothers, grandmothers. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, like speak as you would speak to them, and you will be fine with this thing.
Is it typical to give like a small gift when you visit an elder like that, or is that not part of your culture?
You give gift if you like, but it's not required. Is that the word?
Fair enough.
Are we able to just walk into the camp?
Those requiring shelter and warmth are always welcome at Vistani camp for a night. Again, be respectful, be honest, do not be stupid, and you will always find warmth at Madame Eva's fire.
Can we ask them like if what makes the Vistani like special? Why can they leave and no one else can?
I was gonna ask that, but I think that's a question for Eva.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll tell us.
I didn't want to be
Probably
rude
right.
because like I kind of asked about their culture, and they were like, "We don't speak to outsiders."
It does kind of seem like their one great secret that they're not just gonna like blab to everybody.
Okay.
Well, with that, I'll thank them for their time and say we really appreciate your advice, and we will seek out Madame Eva as we are able.
As you're making your way to leave, he leans forward and he says, I tell two things to you. Give you two things. Listen carefully. When you see Madame Eva, ask for fortune. She will give it. Might help you? Don't know. Nothing harmful can come of it. And two, do not die here in this land. Those who die in Barovia never truly leave. With that, he takes a swig from his cup.
Pretty
That's
freaking
ominous.
ominous.
I thank you for your advice.
He
Thank
shrugs.
you.
A glimmer of a smile, maybe? That's hard to tell.
I'll say I don't think anyone ever intends to die, but we will do our best to not.
You might not be able to say the same for that Doro idiot. Huh? And he laughs, and the Sorvia laughs along with him, and they take another swig, and that's that.
Does that mean he died?
I mean,
I think he was
Was an
saying
idiot.
like attacking Castle Ravenloft was akin to wanting death.
Yeah.
I should have asked him like their opinions on the events in Barovia.
Still can if you like.
Yeah, since he mentioned it, I'll ask. Could you tell me about the recent events in the village of Barovia, like from your perspective? We heard a little bit about it from
Smart.
yeah, Eastmark. I keep forgetting his name, Eastmark, but
I know,
he's
I could hear.
obviously a bit biased.
Eastmark, he's a good man. Yeah, means well. Everything he said is true. Doro decided to attack the castle. Obviously, that was stupid. And Strahd made example of this place. And here we are.
Is there anything you would have told differently in the story?
Ismark talks too much. I would say less.
Fair enough. I'll leave him to his wine.
He kind of gestures as if a little toast with his wine, and then begins speaking quietly with Sorvia.
Sarahpool it is.
Yeah.
Or Sarahpool.
Yeah, I'm glad you talked to him because I was going to say our best option was being to go march into Castle Strahd and just kill the guy and get out of here. But sounds like that's a bad idea.
I bet he is powerful. We are not yet. Cora will suggest, well, we know there's a church and a little store in town. Why don't we explore the village a little bit?
How about the sister? Do we want to take her with us?
Let's talk to Ismark tonight when we get to his house and see.
I mean, if we decide to go to Vallaki, I don't see why we wouldn't. I was going
well,
to suggest
because then we're responsible for her. And if Strahd is hunting her, that means we become a target for Strahd. We may not want that attention.
And he
You
said
know?
something about biting.
Mm-hmm. What if she turns to a vampire and bites one of us?
Mm-hmm.
definitely questions worth asking. We could also keep an eye out on the road for Gertruda. The road that goes to Castle Ravenloft is shared for much of the way.
Did she just leave? Did Mary say when she left?
Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
Based on what you can recall, she basically said that she's gone to the castle. She says, "I think she's gone to the castle." The urgency of that exchange between Mary and Ismark was great enough that it kind of felt like it was a thing that maybe just happened.
Thank you.
I see a couple of choices. We could, try to go intercept Gertruda before she gets to Castle Ravenloft, which I think is a waste of time. We can go to Seer Falls with or without the sister. I thought there was a third one, but now I forget.
We
was
could
probably
make up
that.
our own plan and go into the woods and be in danger.
Go bushwhack.
Yeah. I will say that Cora is always going to be on the side of helping people, for better or worse.
And I will chime in too and say that this campaign is about helping people and about trying to do the right thing. I'm not trying to point you guys
Preserving
in a direction.
humanity.
Yeah, but you're the hope. Like, I know Drez is trying to look for an easy mark here, but the idea is that this is a very, very, very depressed, despotic sort of existence. And maybe you guys coming to Barovia is a good thing. Maybe you were the last best hope. Who knows?
For them.
Mix up some Prozac there, Elanil.
I mean, is there a natural source of it? Because I'll go dig some up.
You do have a herbalism kit. Maybe you can
Yeah,
find
I'll
some,
go search in the
some
woods.
natural Prozac leaves.
Mushrooms.
Found in the Prozacia flower.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll just go do some mushrooms and be high the entire time.
Or more like insightful. Who knows, right?
The deep
I'll
mysteries of
microdose.
life.
Microdose, that's right. All right, so I take it that you guys have left the tavern and that you're standing sort of in the center square, is what I'm surmising. It's probably noon to late afternoon. You can't tell. The sky is overcast. Excuse me. You've got the mercantile shop that's nearby.
Yeah,
That's
let's
on
hit the
your-
store.
On your left.
Yep.
And you've got the church to your north, and you have the Burgomaster's Manor to the south.
Yeah. I mean, we came here with our weapons and not much else. Let's resupply it however much we can afford.
I checked the sky for the raven. Is the raven still around?
Raven is gone. Actually, roll a perception for me.
All of us or just Ento?
Ento.
Oh,
23. Is that 23? Is that loading for me? Yeah, it's a 23. Is that a nat 20?
Her
It
lowest
is.
roll tonight has been an 18.
Like, do I need to check your dice? I don't know. You don't see the same raven, but you do see another raven perched on another rooftop, and it looks different. It looks smaller, and it's looking at you.
Do I know anything? They mentioned that Strahd was a vampire. Do I know anything about vampires?
Probably you picked up a book, didn't you? Yeah, whatever you know about vampires was in that book, and that was I'm trying to remember what it is that I told you. I think it was like generic folklore sort of stuff about vampires. So
I think that might have actually been Jess, because I picked up the book that.
oh, you picked up the other book that was A Tale of Cora, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to say that you don't know what vampires are, other than that they're just really powerful undead. That there's a relation to bats. You know, there's something about silver, something about them having a coffin.
Is there any
crypt.
relation to ravens or anything that I'm aware of?
Nothing stands out.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think let's go resupply.
Yeah, let's head down to that building to the southeast.
Okay. So, like I mentioned before, there's sparse light spilling out from the heavy curtains hanging in the windows. There's a sign over the door, creaking, reading Bildrath's Mercantile. Entering it, you can see it's about 70 feet long, 40 feet wide. There's a gentleman standing kind of behind the counter, and he looks like there's a ledger in front of him that he's sort of examining. Maybe he's marking something down occasionally. There's a clock sort of ticking in the corner, It seems like a quiet, sort of cheerful place. The shelves are well stocked. There's crates kind of here and there, sacks of clothing here and there. There's a back door that leads to another sort of closed area of the store. Um, yeah, and there's again that's just that gentleman kind of hanging back.
So what kind of it's like a general store? Like it's just got.
A little bit of everything. It's got a little bit of everything kicking around.
Does he acknowledge we walk in?
Kind of looks up at you, kind of guffaws, kind of quietly under his breath, and then goes back to his ledger.
I'll say we'd like to do a little bit of a resupply and purchase a few things.
Purchase a few things, huh? Well, what do you need? As you can see, this isn't a magical emporium or anything of the sort. Simple things here for simple people. Unless there's anything you want to sell, maybe.
I have literally no money on my person. Was that?
Oh, who believes?
Monk. He didn't say anything to me.
I've got my starting gold, -1 silver.
You also picked up loot that you said we were going to share with us.
Oh, I did. That's right.
I have a ring that's worth 5 gold pieces.
So at this point in time, if you guys wanted to sell those things, you certainly can. Whatever gold I gave you, like, or whatever value I assigned to whatever item I gave you, would be what you can sell it for. So if you want to spend a few moments to sell the loot that you picked up, gemstones, that someone picked up some books that are worth some money, whatever you want to sell that has a value associated to it, feel free to deduct excuse me, deduct that from your inventory and add the money in exchange.
So I do have a black leather eye patch with a gem encrusted in it. That's worth 50 gold.
Damn. I was going to say maybe you want to wear that for flavor, but no, you should sell that.
Yeah, for 50 gold, I'm going to sell it. And is he going to buy everything we got? Like I've got a copper ring and Gustav's ring, I think, which doesn't have a value, but then I've got a gold ring worth 25, and I've got 3 moss agates worth 30. So should I just sell it all?
If you want to sell them, he will buy them for the value that I gave you.
Perfect.
What I also have here is if you want to buy something, this is his store. It is just adventuring gear as located in the player's handbook. However, due to the economy in Barovia, the costs, if you ask for how much those things cost, they're going to be twice as much. And he will not stock anything that is worth 25 gold pieces or more.
Yeah, so basically he's worthless.
It depends if you need something, right? If you need arrows, if you need, a bedroll, like you guys have nothing. So
it's true.
What about like spellcasting components and stuff?
So
only if they're on that list.
If you wanted to buy, if you wanted to say that you wanted to buy spell casting components, like a certain gold amount, you can. And I'll say that you have 10 gold pieces worth of spellcasting components or 20 gold pieces worth of spellcasting components.
Let me look at my spells real quick. I don't have that much gold, so.
As the only store in Barovia, he probably has a little bit of everything. Like do you know what I mean? Like he's got odds and ends, foodstuffs, adventuring supplies. A lot of the stuff looks used. Like some of it looks like maybe the people who had them before didn't survive, and that was something that kind of came to him, and he's now selling it.
So you say he's got everything in the adventuring gear section?
That's not worth 25 gold pieces or more.
Got it. Okay.
What about like the spellcasting components that like aren't consumed? Are those things I need to purchase, or?
Give me an example.
I think there's one that's like a small mirror.
If is there a mirror on his list?
I think so.
Because sometimes
I think
mirror
it
steel.
said, but there's one that's like a scrap of cloth, like a scrap of white cloth. Like I'm assuming I can probably just rip that off of something.
Yeah. So when you're saying that you want to buy spell casting components, it would be like 10 gold pieces worth of incense, herbs, and whatever, right? So like your
Okay.
fine familiar, that would be you're buying consumable spell casting components that are worth money. The exception would be like chromatic orb, requires a diamond worth 50 gold pieces. That's not consumed, so that's a one-time purchase. So that would be kind of you knowing your spells and knowing what you need in order to make sure that you're buying those things.
So what about something like enhanced ability uses fur or a feather from a beast? Is that something that I could just buy, or is that something I need to find in the?
Is there a gold piece on associated to it?
No.
No, then
It's
you're using your arcane focus, your holy symbol to cast that.
okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
it's
only if there's a gold piece associated to it do you need to worry about that.
okay. So I think of the spells I've currently got selected, it's only for my find familiar.
So we should probably all buy a bedroll, I'm assuming, right?
Didn't our bedrolls come with us?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Hello there.
Hello there.
You left and came back.
Probably should buy a backpack.
Yeah, some of us need backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably get a few rations too, just in case. I don't know that I have enough money for very much.
What I would recommend that you guys do is if you were selling all of your loot and sharing it, and I don't know what Drez pocketed and what is known to the group, but you may want to like combine that value and then split it up amongst yourselves so that you all have a little bit of spending money. But that's up to you guys. But that's typically what happens is whatever loot that you gather, you sell it in mass, and then if you have 100 gold and there's 5 people in your party, then everybody gets 20 gold pieces.
Drez, are you sharing it or are you pocketing everything?
No, I'm sharing it. I take, how many of us? There's 4 of you guys. So I take 15 gold and give you each 15 of what I sold.
Okay.
So
Everybody
that's
gets
60
15 gold.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 gold to spend, and these prices are double, so
And I started with 21. Should I not have done that? Which was starting gold. Did we lose that?
Was it in a coin purse? So it may
Yeah.
have been starting gold from like you creating your character, in which case, yeah, you would have that.
Mm-hmm.
Some might have more gold when they started their characters. Some might have less gold when they started their characters.
I had literally none. I don't know whether that was just
you
That's
probably
just
my
oversight.
I don't know
error
why.
or
Probably an error. You probably have between 10 and 15 gold pieces left over. That's generally speaking what you start off with.
but didn't we buy a lot because like my glaive was expensive and then I did like
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
the studded armor instead? Like wouldn't
Studded
that
armor
have
isn't that expensive.
okay.
Yeah, the glaive would be a
I'm
little
trying to
expensive. If you wanted to give yourself 10 gold pieces, that's normal starting gold. Like that's not going to break the bank here. We're talking about backpacks cost 4 gold pieces, so it's not like I'm giving you the house.
okay. Not really. It won't do it automatically like purchasing.
No, you have to write down what you're purchasing and like
Yep.
just keep a running tab going. So just go. I would just go down the list with a notepad and just put like 4, 6, 10, 12, like whatever you're ending.
And then double it.
Yep. I gotta write down what I actually bought.
And if somebody's running short of gold, I've got a little more. I'll help you out.
This is what's hard on my brain.
How many rations do you guys think we need?
What's the unit of measure? Is it by the day? I don't even see. Oh,
It
there's
says
rations. One day.
5 silver pieces. I was thinking
mean-
maybe like 3 or 4.
I was gonna
Well,
say.
he said it was 3 to
Okay, so maybe
Villaki.
maybe 5.
Yeah,
just to be
5's probably a
safe.
good idea.
There's other things you guys can do too. Is like if you're planning on journeying a certain stretch, you can say, "I want to spend some time hunting," and like Elanil, being a ranger, could hunt and try to get like a deer or a wolf or something to eat. That's also something you guys can do, but you have to spend time doing it. That's all.
Do we need to get a tent? There's a 2-person tent, so I mean we could share, but we need 3 of
Oh.
them.
Do we need a tent, or do we just sleep in our bedrolls? I mean, I don't even really sleep, so you guys need a tent. Get a tent.
How does everybody else feel about the tent situation?
I'm sorry, I'm going down the list. So let's just.
You guys take your time. Like, there's no rush here. Like, this is the. There's gonna be moments when we're playing when there's lots of things happening, and you know, like it's more structured and linear. And this is the time when you guys need to be looking at your inventory and making plans and spending your money to make sure that you have things that you might need.
Jeez, ink is expensive. I had ink, but man, I did not realize it was worth 10 gold. 20 gold.
A 1 ounce bottle, though, probably lasts for quite some time if you properly prepare it.
Too bad I lost mine.
I'm going to look around the shop. Are there any weapons at all for sale?
Not a lot. And what is there is pitted and there's even like one that's bloodstained. So you might see a long sword. There's a short sword hanging up on the wall. There's an old crossbow that's broken, and actually the cord is actually like missing. There's a rapier, but it's pitted and rusted. There's a long spear. There's not a lot. There's an old mace that's got some rust forming on the top, but it looks like it's usable.
How much is the mace?
Kind of looks at you and asks, "Where are you planning on adventuring?" I don't know why he turned Scottish. He asks you, "Are you? Can I get it back? Are you traveling somewhere?" No, I lost it, guys.
You lost it. I love you.
He asks you, if you're headed in particular, which you find kind of an odd question to ask after you ask how much a mace costs, but that's his answer to you is, where are you headed? Where are you going?
Villaki, possibly.
Villaki. I think I got it back. Yeah. So long as I know where you're going, I know how to recover it. For you, 2 gold pieces, maybe, 3 gold pieces. Villaki, are you going overland or taking the road?
The road.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, 3 gold pieces for you.
Let me do some math and see if I can afford it.
Do I need both the bedroll and a blanket? What's the difference?
A bedroll is like, you can actually, it's like a sleeping bag. Like, you can sleep inside of it. It's like an insulated blanket. A blanket is, you might want to, like, you could put a blanket on top of the bedroll to make it even warmer, I suppose. Or you could rip up the blanket, or, do you know what I mean? It has more uses.
Bring a blanket between 2 sticks and make a stretcher.
Yep. You theoretically could do that with a bedroll too.
Oh,
But
I guess
you probably would be. I don't know.
Sorry,
I guess you can cart somebody around in a sleeping bag, so I bet you could do that in a bedroll too. And like the main reason why you guys would have bedrolls and blankets is if you're sleeping at night and it's cold and you're not comfortable and you're not protected from the cold, you can take points of exhaustion, levels of exhaustion, if you're not adequately sort of protected, which can decrease your stats. So having access to those amenities for camping, especially if it's colder, is kind of important. A bedroll would be fine. You don't necessarily need to have a blanket as well.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Do we need
Was
to have
I the
a
only
mess
one who was
kit
wondering
to
why
eat
Enta was
rations?
asking what a blanket is?
I asked what.
I'm kidding, Ento. Relax.
Do we need to have a mess kit to be able to like heat up and eat rations?
Rations are dried. They're like they would be like hardtack biscuit, dried like jerky. So you wouldn't you wouldn't necessarily be heating those up. But a mess kit contains like cutlery. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Contain cutlery. It contains a little part that comes apart where you can like cook food on it. So if you wanted to cook food, you could, like fresh food. But
So like if we hunted, we would need that to be able to cook.
yeah, like if you think about it, like if you're going to be cooking like a stew or roasting something over a fire, you might not necessarily need a mess kit to roast something over the fire. But if you were cooking like a stew or soup or something like in a cauldron, like you might need a cauldron. But it's all about where you're going, how far you're going to be on the go, and who's carrying all of it. Most adventurers will just go from tavern to tavern and eat rations along the way. What are you making a charisma check for, Drez?
It's a misclick. I'm actually, while we're doing this, I was messing with the character sheet because never having played a spellcaster, the Drow do have a couple spells, and I'm wondering, what's the DC on the spell? So I look on my sheet, and it tells me the DC's 11 dex save, and I said, that's odd. 11. And then I look up in the rule book how you calculate it, and I calculate it for the rule book, and it's 11. I'm like, wow, did the character sheet, just that little entry, did it do the calculation for me? So I just modified my charisma, which is my the ability that governs Drow spells, and bumped it up 1. And sure enough, the saving throw went up 1.
Interesting.
That's pretty badass.
That's your fairy fire?
Fairy fire, yeah. That's pretty impressive the way this character sheet is, even like little bitty, like just the text description. Where it's got a number, it's an actual calculated number. That's very cool.
It's obviously a very well built system.
Yeah.
Is anybody getting any rope or anything?
I got 50 feet of silk rope, yep.
Okay. Then I will not bother.
As you guys are perusing the wares, making decisions. The man behind the counter is kind of eyeing you up and looking at what you're wearing and what you have equipped. Just sort of like you can see him like making a tally in his head.
Of all the money he's going to make off of us when we die.
So while we're shopping, I ask him, why all the questions about where we're going? What does it matter?
You people come through here often, I'd say. And when you do, you inevitably die, and I get richer.
That's a bit
Fair enough.
10 silver pieces is a gold piece, or there's a electrum in between there. I can't remember where that is.
There is electrum in there. Some people don't use it. I know that
Electrum's more than a gold, if I recall.
It's less because it's gold-plated silver.
Okay.
So usually it's 10 silver pieces to 1 gold piece.
Okay.
And he says to Drez, if you don't believe me, at the stroke of midnight, take a look over at the castle. Maybe even the graveyard in town. You'll see what I mean.
What happens at midnight?
He just kind of smiles at you and shrugs his shoulders.
So about what time of day is it now?
Late afternoon. Mid to late
Okay.
afternoon. Probably takes a good hour to do what you guys are doing, right? Because not only are you buying the stuff, like selecting it, you're probably also like packing it in like your things. So if you're all buying backpacks, then you're loading up your backpack and you're like preparing it for travel. That takes some time. So
Is anybody buying a healer's kit?
Oh, that's a good call.
Can anyone use a healer's kit?
Well, it's just a medical check. No, wait. How does that
You
work?
don't.
have
You
to have
don't need to
proficiency.
make.
yeah, if you have a
And 'cause
healer's
monk-
kit, you don't need to make a check to stabilize somebody. You just use one of the charges. There's 10 charges on a healing kit, and using one of those charges will automatically stabilize a downed party member.
It says I have a healer's kit.
Don't you have to have proficiency to use it though?
I think she does.
I know Monk had proficiency. Because he and I had talked about that, but I wasn't sure if anybody else did.
Well, then you have it. It doesn't have to be very big. It just has to be like a small bundle with like bandages and like a suture maybe in it, right? Or poultice.
Yeah.
Like, it could be something literally. Like I'm thinking of my my IFAKs at work, my improved first aid kits that have like compression bandages. Like they're small. They're designed to be something that you have tucked away as like an emergency. Gotta stop the bleeding. You know, I gotta pack the wound. Like they don't have to be big. So I don't see that as something that necessarily would be in your.
I don't know. It says I have one.
Okay, then you have one. And do you have proficiency in it?
I can't find that.
Look
Is it
to
from
the
your-
lower left. You should see tools.
And I
Armor,
have an-
weapons, tools, languages should be in
I
there.
have an herbalism kit under my tools, but I don't see anything in my features and traits.
Did you get it from like your background or something? Maybe?
Probably.
Probably, because I have. Yeah.
So there is no proficiency with healer's kit rules as written. Healer's kit is either you have it or you don't, and it's not a proficiency according to rules as written.
Okay,
And you
that's why
do
I have
not.
it.
All it does is prevent you from having to make a medicine
Wisdom check. Yeah.
Yeah,
to
medicine check.
to stabilize somebody. Okay.
And I also think that
I
you
grabbed
can
one.
use it. I also think that you can use it to actually heal somebody as well. You can use one of the charges to actually give some healing. Let me check it out here.
Nope. Does anybody else need one? It doesn't have the gold to buy one. They're 5 gold each.
Yeah, so it doesn't heal anything yet. You're right.
I mean, I don't think there's much point in me having one because I'm just gonna use a spell or something to heal people.
Mm-hmm. Jay or Jess, you guys need one?
What was I?
look at healing kits as like avalanche shovels. Is I'm not carrying the good one. I'm making you carry the good one because if you're using it, you're digging me out.
That's funny.
I knew exactly where you were going as soon as you started talking.
Yeah.
And it's also the kind of thing that you buy to never use.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're not that lucky.
Um. I had a thought and then I lost it. I don't know what it was. But
When you guys are done shopping, just sound off so I know. And so your
Drez is
fellow
done,
party members
unless
also
somebody
know.
else wants a healing kit.
are we buying rations? Was that a
I bought
bought
5.
I bought 5 as well.
okay?
I know what I'm getting, but I'm still like entering it in.
I think I got everything.
I did buy myself a 2-person tent if anyone wants to not sleep outside.
Could probably be counted as a 3-person tent if you're the one that's using it.
Probably. Two
And-
humans
or a
or
2-person
4
or a
halflings.
2-person or a 2-person tent if you're going to be bunking with Sora.
Is Sora the tallest? Who's the tallest?
Definitely
Oh,
the Dragonborn.
Yeah,
I think it's Tarhun is 6'6".
I'm
and
sure
Sora
he's,
is
yeah.
6'5".
Yeah, I think so.
How do I see what my weight is? Is there like a total weight somewhere on here?
Under your inventory, it should say weight carried, and then whether or not you're encumbered or unencumbered.
It says I'm unencumbered, but how do I know like what it would be? Like what's the limit?
click it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Got plenty of carrying capacity left.
Incidentally, Dirtas, in your campaign, I'm like at my limit, but I also haven't, I think, like sold my things I need to sell yet. But like I'm like at 75 of 76 pounds.
You guys will have like when we start, you'll have like a little kind of intro conversation, and then you're kind of free. So if you want to go visit a merchant or something, like you can totally do that.
Cool.
You gave us 15 gold, Drez?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to deduct an extra.
I think I've got everything. So our characters don't know anything about vampires.
Vampires are undead, and it is your favorite enemy.
Because I was thinking about buying something like salt.
Holy water.
Ooh, good call.
I can technically make holy water, but it's expensive as shit.
It's also expensive to buy it. It is on the list.
I think it
Yeah.
costs more to make than it does to buy, which seems really dumb.
25 gold. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it cost me 25 gold to make it too.
It's actually 50 gold here.
50
so,
gold, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I can make it for a discount.
Since he doesn't even have it here, right? Because 25 gold.
Yeah, 25 or up, he doesn't carry.
Yeah.
So it does not have it. I was just thinking about like salt water because I'm thinking of Castlevania and salt water.
you could roll for survival with advantage, and I will kind of see what you might know about vampires.
Okay. Roll twice. Thank God for that advantage.
What did you get?
Another natural 20, of course.
A nat 20, eh?
That's 2 tonight.
Give me a second here, and I'll see what I can give you after. Yeah, you guys
Okay.
continue doing your shopping here, and I'll see what I can
You
get.
need no guidance from me.
What if there wasn't any advantage on it? Because, man, that first roll is shitty.
I'm gonna get 5 gold worth of spellcasting components. I'd do more, but I can't afford more.
How much more did you want?
I don't need any right now, but if my rat dies, I need 10. Although one of the components is charcoal, herbs, and stuff, and I picked up charcoal from the fireplaces, so maybe that can count for part of it.
So I will say that with that nat 20 friggin' roll, that
I'm sorry.
you know that vampires, and you may want to write this down.
Yep.
Vampires must rest in their coffins or sarcophagus during the day. At night, they have wolves and other vermin to do their bidding. They can transform into a bat, a wolf, or a cloud of mist. When they are in humanoid form, they can dominate you with their powerful gaze. They cannot enter a residence without an invitation from one of the occupants. Running water burns them like acid. And by running water, I mean like a river.
Yeah.
And sunlight will cause a vampire to burn or burst into flame. This is your general belief regarding vampires. You believe these things to be true. I'm not saying that they are true. I'm saying that you believe them to be
This
true.
is what I know about vampires.
This is what you believe about vampires.
Yep. Okay. So nothing about salt. So I don't have to buy. I mean,
No salt.
gonna
or
buy
garlic.
salt. Yeah.
I mean, what if you get some meat and you want to salt the meat? You got
I know,
seasoning.
right?
Seasoning
I
is
mean,
so
salt
important.
does make things tastier, so.
I know, but there isn't any listed.
You could probably ask for spices or something. Cooking spices, salt.
Yeah, could I ask the guy for salt?
Sure. He carries salts. He carries what looks to be like a white pepper. He carries any number of cooking or seasoning spices. Like for 1 gold piece, you would get like a large pouch of it. Salt is a little bit more valuable.
Just
So-
after the salt.
You just want salt? Yeah, for a gold
Yeah.
piece, he'd give you a pouch of salt.
God, so expensive.
Have you been to the spice aisle at the grocery store?
It's also
God,
expensive.
I know. Gonna say the custom item, isn't it?
Yeah, probably is.
Yeah.
Considering I just made that up.
What does Iris's website say? Let's
Oh,
check.
shit. There you go.
Crane actually sent me that website, so technically Crane's website.
I looked it up on Google and immediately sent it to you. So I don't know. I will say this: it is 9:41.
Yeah, I was also gonna say that.
What is? I know Jay needs an early night. Iris needs an early night. just checking in with you guys on how late you want tonight to go. You can stop at any time.
I would. Yeah, I'm okay with whatever you guys want to do.
Well, Jay, I think, is the one we need to.
Is he already sleeping?
The music is very relaxing.
It is very relaxing.
I think Jay went to
Hello?
sleep. What if I just yell out roll for initiative really loudly?
Start the combat music.
That would be mean. Well, maybe that's a sign that we should
That could be a sign.
that we should pause here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a whip sound. I heard that.
Yeah.
There was-
it's
I
part of it.
was gonna say that I want to go investigate the cemetery before we go back to the manor, but we can do that next time too.
Salt is 5 copper piece per pound.
What is salt?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's about right. If you're
You overcharged
yeah,
me
I totally did. Yeah, but you know what?
so much.
Barovia is an economically depressed place.
The high end is 1 silver
God.
piece per pound.
Yeah, well, it's Barovia. There you go.
Or-
I want my money back.
Okay, fine. I'll give you 5 silver. You can have 5 more silver back.
Pepper is expensive.
It would be more exotic, right? Not exotic, but it would be rarer because any saltwater body is going to be salt. But
I mean, I don't see a lot of big saltwater bodies on this map.
Miss
Well,
Tanya
'cause
will
we're
bring
in-
it in, though.
Barovia.
Whatever the Barovians don't have, Vistani bring in.
The big list of things about I'm gonna ask Into because my note-taking skills weren't good enough. Is there anything about vampires and mirrors?
There wasn't anything about vampires and mirrors mentioned.
I'm wondering if a mirror would be good to have, but they're kind of expensive. I might save for that.
I was gonna say, did you guys get a mirror? But I think that might be what Drez pocketed. I can't remember.
What?
I thought you guys got a mirror. No, you got
I have no
a brush. It was a brush with silver
Yeah, it
bristles.
was
That's
a
right.
brush.
I do have the brush, and the brush did not have a price associated with it.
No, I pocketed the eye patch and the moss agate, sold them both, and distributed the gold.
The funds to everyone. He was very
Yes.
generous.
I do have a.
We've been through hell together. I've got a newfound affinity for my companions.
Oh, that's so wonderful of you.
I'm just gonna take a quick
Unexpected.
peek, but I believe the brush was worth more gold. Stand by.
Was it? Because I've still got it. I've got the brush and I've got a jewelry box that was holding the wheat. So I've got some the wheat and the crystal.
Well, the jewelry box is worth money too.
The brush was actually when I was asking about would giving a gift be appropriate. I was thinking about giving the elder.
The jewelry
Silver.
box was made of silver with gold filigree and is worth 75 gold pieces.
Holy moly!
Jeez.
Yeah, and I would have read that out. And
I didn't note that down.
And I'll get the brush here.
Apparently, this book is not the book I was taking notes on when we were playing.
The ivory hairbrush with silver bristles is worth 25 gold pieces.
Okay, so I will give. There's 5 of us, so I will give everybody 20 gold. And sell those 2 items. I'm gonna keep the wheat that was in the jewelry box, because why not?
Okay, you guys have another 20 gold pieces. And just checking in. Jay, are you awake? BRB. Okay.
This music is very relaxing, though. I'm very relaxed.
Maybe it was
I'm gonna
that
buy a
alcohol.
mirror since I have more gold now.
Nice.
So much for giving the lady a hairbrush, though.
You could give her the mirror.
No.
Buy 2.
It's only worth 5 gold. She's not going to be impressed by that.
What lady? Oh, the lady. The lady. Like, you guys planning on meeting somebody, or?
What lady are you talking about?
The lady at
The
Sear
elder
Falls.
lady.
Madame
Madame Eva?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
matriarch.
Like, I was going to give her the fancy hairbrush or jewelry box, but I just sold them. So.
So I will say that while we're waiting for Jay to come back and decide when the night is ending, but I will say that this was like 90% less prep for me. I did not spend as much time fleshing this out. I just followed the modules that I have and the stuff that's in front of me. I did some reading beforehand, but I'm mostly improvising this. And is there a difference? Do you guys notice a difference between the last 2 sessions?
Not a bit.
I mean,
No, I
this
thought
one
this
was mostly talk. That's the difference between it, I find. Like, this one is talk and the last ones were combat, so they feel different anyways. Sorry.
I think you did good, Crane.
Good. Wonderful.
I will say that your DMing makes my DMing feel inadequate sometimes, but that's a good thing.
No, it's just different styles. It's different. Like, I switch accents. Come on, I just went
You
from
have your shit
Romanian
way
to
more
Scottish.
together than I
That was
ever will,
hilarious.
so.
Now,
That
hold
was-
on, Iris. When we did my thing the other night, you had that stuff dialed. You had a map. You had NPCs.
And then I was like, and I don't know what else to tell you because I don't have any more quests to give you right now.
It was fine.
You've hit the edge of the world.
I mean, sometimes the
Honesty,
NPC is
We like it.
I've got nothing else for you right now, go away. ESO does that all the time.
That's right. It's just
An
an
invisible
impassable
barrier.
Yeah.
wall. Yeah. Well, it's different styles, Iris. Different style, and completely different campaign too. Like, when we're done this, I'll show you what I've been using, and I've been having it spoon fed to me in many ways compared to how modules are written. Because I have like a reloaded version of this mod, and it's quite nice.
You feel like the Curse of Strahd as written is pretty decent, or are you having to modify stuff pretty heavily?
So I'm not modifying what I have in front of me because I'm already relying on a modified version. So there's a reloaded version of Curse of Strahd that reorganizes Curse of Strahd and cleans up some issues that are
Wait 1
commonly
second.
seen. Yeah, no worries. And so I'm using that, which is just more fleshed out and easier for a DM to like just jump in. Like, I'm looking at Ismark's profile and it tells me that I should be channeling Faramir from Lord of the Rings when I'm
Damn.
role playing.
Wow.
Ismark.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, it's at a different level. And like when I
I-
hover over things, it pops up with little pop-ups that give me little tips and tricks on things. Now it
I
still
told-
requires the original module to like you have to use both, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, it's pretty good.
I told Drez this. I've made up 79 NPCs for you guys so far.
That's insane.
God.
That's insane.
Now I will say, like, about 16, maybe let's call it 20. 20 of them, there was probably like a name and like a like single line description about them in the book. But
Right. But you need more, right? You can't just rely on.
Well,
and
like,
that's what
there's
they
no-
find with
there's
D&D.
nobody working at the the bathhouse. There's nobody
Yep.
working at the inn. There's nobody,
Yep.
there's no cook in the hearth. Like,
Yep, they just expect that DMs just make this shit up on the fly and then keep track of it.
yep. And those are the ones in Candlekeep. Like, I'm making up. I haven't done it yet, but like, there's a shit ton that I need to make up for Baldur's Gate too. Like,
That's a city.
it is. It is.
So I saw that Jay popped back into the channel there, Jay. How late are you looking to go tonight? Because we can stop at any time.
Probably good for another hour.
I can do another hour. I don't know if you were here when I said it, but I gave everybody another 20 gold.
Okay.
I sold some stuff, so if you want more stuff or you just want to pocket the gold, like either is okay.
Okay. Thank you.
And I can resummon my pet if it dies now.
Thank goodness.
Maybe it'll be a raven next time and fly around with all the other ravens.
I really wish I had speak with animals because these ravens are driving me nuts. Okay. God, that knife. All the sounds in the background are also.
You know, I
driving me
could
nuts.
detect good and evil next time we see a raven and see if one of them, see if they seem evil
Mm.
or good.
I was thinking of bribing it down with like food. And
Yeah,
using
do
my
that.
animal handling to like convince it.
Oh, it's a natural 20 you just did.
What?
You got a
When I'm not-
raven.
Oh god.
Do I see any like shed raven feathers anywhere on the ground?
Inside Bildrath's? No.
No, just like in general. I'm looking out a window.
She's going to look as we walk places.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Do you want to keep an eye out for a raven feather?
Just in general.
I'm gonna say that you would find a raven's feather within an hour of walking around town.
Okay.
So are we gonna walk up to the church first? The church ends. The manor are in opposite ends of town.
And those the church and the store and the tavern were kind of the non-house buildings that we've seen.
Yeah, the non-house buildings that you've seen would be the Burgomaster's Manor to the south, the one that you're in right now, Bildrath's Mercantile, the Blood of the Vine Tavern, and then that church off in the distance. That looks like you can't really see the graveyard from where it is. Like the graveyard is behind it. You just know that there's a church there. But like your common understanding of churches is that they
Is
typically
there
have
no like
graveyards.
apothecary or healer's place in town?
Not that you don't see any storefront for it.
Okay.
You can certainly
And the merchant?
ask.
The merchant said something about stuff happening there at midnight.
He mentioned that at the stroke
Dead
of midnight,
people.
that you can take a look at the cemetery or take a look at the castle in the distance. You might see something.
What time is it now? Like noon or later?
Late afternoon.
Okay.
The dude said that midnight at the graveyard is the place to see something.
Yes.
Do we want to go check it out in the day?
I would prefer checking out graveyards in daytime. Yes.
Sure. Let's go.
Gonna saunter through town, keeping my eyes on the sky. Looking out
Keep
for
my
those
eyes
ravens.
on the houses and surroundings.
Okay.
And the ground for a raven feather. You're looking for raven feathers.
Oh, that's true. I'm looking for my raven feather.
So you exit Bildrath's Mercantile and walk out into the bright late afternoon overcasts.
Wait, the what?
Bright afternoon overcast, like it's
Okay.
It's still light out. It's not dusk yet. The sun is still relatively high in the sky, but you can tell that it's past its zenith as much as you can from behind the cloud cover. You guys are making your way up to the cemetery.
Yeah, towards the church.
Okay.
Since we don't know there's a cemetery yet.
So when you arrive at the cemetery, you're going to be approaching what looks to be the church first. Atop a slight rise against the roots of the pillar stone that supports Castle Ravenloft, high in the sky, stands a grey, sagging edifice of stone and wood. This church has obviously weathered the assaults of evil for centuries on end and is worn and weary. A bell tower rises toward the back, and flickering light shines through holes in the shingled roof. The rafters strain feebly against their load.
Does it seem like the damage to the church is recent, like from the siege, or this just looks old and broken?
No, it looks like it's recent.
Okay. I'll walk up to the front door.
Okay.
And head in.
The doors are locked.
Oh. I'll knock.
There's no answer.
Let's walk around back, maybe.
Or
Do it. Cora wouldn't say that. Libby says that.
Not great.
That does not pass muster. Go ahead and try again.
really
Usually it's a 15, I think.
My
for...
rat will guidance you. Oh.
easy locks are 10s.
Yep. The lock snicks open.
We just broke into a church. Everyone
Just
okay with that?
We already know the devil's here. It's fine.
Right.
Okay. Right, it's not a
Cora-
holy church anymore.
Cora looks uncomfortable. Libby looks excited.
It's not a holy church anymore. We're fine.
Is there any sort of like holy symbol on the outside? Can we tell who this is a church to?
There is what looks to be the effigy of a rising sun. So like the half of a starburst, basically rising above what
So,
looks
like-
to be like a horizon.
Does it look
Like
like the rising
Lathander,
sun
then.
symbol of my god?
It looks strikingly similar, but
Oh
different.
yeah, I'm going in here. I will tell them. I will communicate that to them.
Is your god
Would
Lathander?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Would like a religion roll or anything tell me more about like this variation on the symbol?
Go ahead and give me a roll.
Nice.
The symbols are strikingly similar. Like this is something you may have seen before. It could be a variation. It could be original variation. It could be something that you've encountered maybe in texts or in inscriptions on maybe like a temple wall or a sculpture that you've seen back in your day, being around temples. But it's not something that's jumping out to you. Like you can't place it, but it's the same but different. There's a difference to it. Are you
Okay.
guys going in?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
stand by.
I'll
You'll see a link for Owlbear Rodeo.
Well.
Hey, creepy crow.
And things change.
Oh, there's my mouse. I will say the battle map makes me much more aware of the fact that I have a mouse and I could have the mouse do things.
Did you kind of forget you had him with you?
Yeah. I would have
think
like
I
been
would,
petting
too.
him in the tavern and stuff.
Okay. So if you want to enter, I'll go ahead and open the door for you.
Yeah.
What's the overall vibe of the place? Does it feel cursed? Does it feel welcoming? Does it feel dead?
It looks like it has been a well taken care of church in the past, but it looks like that there's been recent trauma inside, like recent disturbance. It hasn't. The floors haven't been swept. You can see what looks to be like some damage on the outside. There's some scorch marks and actual damage, like the door itself. The stone is chipped. It's dirty inside.
Are
Let me read
these
out to you here. The doors open to reveal a 10-foot wide, 20-foot long hall leading to a brightly lit chapel. The hall is unlit and it reeks of mildew. Even though you see candles, it's unlit. 4 doors, 2 on each side of the hall, lead to adjacent chambers. You can see that the chapel is strewn with debris, and you hear a soft. Sorry, you don't hear anything. The chapel is
that
strewn
sounds
with
like the
debris.
midnight times. um,
Are these doors locked?
like
They're not locked.
let's open one.
Yeah, you can just pass through.
Oh, is this like a trap door?
It appears so.
I will tell everybody, hey, there looks like there's a trap door in here.
Let's not head down into the basement until we
check
know
out
what
up
might
here.
Oops, sorry, I
fall on
keep
our
moving
heads.
Jay instead of me.
So yeah, there's 4 rooms here. Walking into those rooms, you're going to see that 2 appear to be like sparsely furnished bedrooms, and there's not much in there. This is a pretty modest way of living. There's a study in another room with a bookshelf and desk, as well as like a wardrobe. And then there's another room that looks absolutely destroyed. There's pieces of furniture that have been completely demolished, broken pieces of wood. It's dirty in here. It looks like somebody may have been in here or locked in here for a period of time. And then there is a trapdoor in the corner with a rather ornate padlock on it.
Well, you know who's gonna have to do that? Can I take a peek in the wardrobe?
Where did Drez go?
I don't know. I disappeared off the map.
Like, where did you go, man?
I'm hiding.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll pull you back in here. I don't know where you are.
There's my.
And we'll give you vision. There you are.
It's
Thank
funny,
you.
all of the tokens that I've added for my game show up, like at the bottom.
Yeah, you can probably pull them in, I think.
Probably, like. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
there you go.
Bathhouse lady.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
2 temporary hit points to everybody.
So do we want to go downstairs?
I think let's explore up here first, and then we'll
Okay.
go down. Can I open up the wardrobe?
Yeah, there's some clothing inside. There's robes, like smocks, that are sort of like hung with care, and they look like they're freshly laundered and in good condition. There's a walking cane inside, and a book. The book is looks like a prayer book. There's psalms and passages and notes scribbled in the margins.
Does it look like prayers that I would be familiar with from my church?
Looks very similar. Sort of like when you think of the Bible being translated in like 13 different ways, it's sort of like that, where the same message is there, the same stories are almost there, but they're written in a different interpretation. Different verbs are sometimes used, different adjectives to describe the same thing.
But it's still written in common.
Yep, so you can understand it. It's written in common.
I'm gonna say a little prayer and then I'm gonna pocket the book.
Interesting. Okay.
I lost my prayer book when we ended up here. I lost my shit, so there does not appear to be anybody in the destroyed temple that is worshipping.
Not right now.
If we see anybody, I'll
After
give them-
midnight.
These candles aren't here. It's dark, right?
They're unlit. They're here, but they're not lit right now. It is daylight. There's light streaming through the windows.
Does the space feel holy, or does it feel like it's been desecrated, or can we tell?
Religion check.
Go ahead and roll just a wisdom check for me, and because you're a cleric with advantage.
So just a straight like wisdom I click on at the top.
Yeah, give me a straight wisdom check, yeah. And the reason why straight wisdom check is because I think I'm trying to think of it from a perspective you're trying to maybe like tap into your clerical
Yeah.
divine sort of component or aspect. So 19, I'm going to say that this place should be hallowed ground. It should be congregated, consecrated rather, and congregated. But it's neither right now.
Concentrated?
Consecrated. It should be a consecrated place, like knowing your own rituals that you're aware of because of your own devotion to Lathander. This should be a holy place, but it's not. There's something missing. It's sort of like, yeah, it's sort of like a home without occupants, if that makes sense. It's not to say that people aren't living here. Like the bedrooms appear to be well maintained, and those smocks hanging up there looks like they've been recently laundered. But it doesn't. There's something wrong with the holiness of this place.
Would I be able to do like I don't know, like a blessing or a service or anything at the altar?
Like, do you just want to like say a blessing, or do you want to cast a spell?
I wish I had taken ceremony. I was going to, and I didn't. Don't know if I have any spells that make sense to cast.
Why don't you roll a religion check for me?
Well, that wasn't great.
Your knowledge of holy places is that typically they're consecrated with either a ritual or because they're inherently a holy place. You don't know how this place became consecrated, so you're not really quite sure how it lost that, why it's no longer a holy ground. But yeah, you would have no way of knowing how to restore that to this place.
There's nothing around us that seems wrong. Like, there's no like idol that's shattered or something that's defiled.
Bloodstains, human sacrifices, non-human sacrifices.
No, it looks like there's broken benches kind of strewn around the center hall. It looks like there hasn't been a service here in probably several days, if not a couple weeks. But it's been used recently enough that this isn't like the Durst Manor. This is something that just recently happened.
Okay. So it's probably they were probably sieged in here.
Are all these like wooden, like, are these doors, or what are these windows?
Those are windows, stained glass windows.
And they depict, what do they depict?
It's just a mosaic of colored glass. Maybe in a more ornate, more expensive church, there would be stories, like scenes in the glass, but there isn't in this one.
I'm out of ideas for the moment.
Alright, so I guess we're stuck with going down the
I'm gonna inspect the lock. How difficult does it look?
It's a big padlock. It's new. It's been placed there recently, so it's in good condition.
I'm gonna pick it.
You will get guidance.
Jesus Christ. Plus some guidance. Hold on. Not that it probably matters. 15.
Not with that roll.
so close. That was a good guidance roll.
There's a 20 plus
There you go.
Just
21.
Radio
doesn't do
seem
it.
like laggy to anybody else?
Jesus. How many more chances do I have? Yeah, Alba Radio is really laggy to me.
You can try a couple more chances if you'd like. That doesn't do it.
Gee, are you freaking kidding me? I can't roll above a 12. Let's do a guidance. 21 again. I think I had a 21 before, didn't I? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we take a look in the cemetery?
Yeah.
Do you guys want me to try to restart Alba Radio here and just see if that helps out with the performance? Because I can do that real quick.
Can't hurt.
Everybody leave if you don't mind. Let's see if I have anything here. Accurate, fast. Let's try the render quality. Change that. Try that.
Seems better, maybe.
Seems a little better, yeah. It is a higher quality map, which also could be why you're experiencing that. I'll just use Jay's token here to discover what you have already seen.
No, it's still really laggy for me. It's strange. First time it's ever been bad.
No, I might need to use a lower quality image going forward. This is it's a 20 megabyte image, so maybe it doesn't like that.
Jeez.
You might be able
Actually,
to
I'm wrong. It's a little. No, it's not. It's still laggy.
You might be able to just take the image and save it as like a little bit lower resolution too.
Yeah, I can reduce the image size pretty easily with Windows.
Is my character not? Oh, there it goes.
Oh, are we gonna hop the fence? Did we come on the wrong side?
So there's a fence to the cemetery?
You could hop the fence or you can go around, your choice.
How tall is the fence?
It's like 4 feet tall. It's not tall. Well,
So
for
you're
you,
not
it's
hopping
exceptionally
shit.
tall.
I look up at the fence.
Sora can step over it, and you would have to be tossed over it.
I mean, I could probably climb it.
I could take you with me.
Yay!
Well. Okay, I've hopped the fence.
God, it's so laggy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not something I can fix right now. I'd have to fix it for future sessions.
I'm just looking at the main map.
There's a gate on the other side of the opening.
Your rat squeaks angrily at us. Angrily.
Like, you idiot! Cora gets tossed over the fence. Oh, there's church bells. Do the bells are coming from the church, or are there actually bells?
It's just an ambient noise.
You never know.
Yeah. It's true. Sometimes I could make it happen, right? I was doing that with the wolves on session 1.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You coming, Drez?
If I take a look at like these tombstones, do they seem just like typical Barovian names?
Yep, they're just standard tombstones. They're nothing really jumping out at you. There's female names, women's names. There's dates ranging as far back as, like, some of the older ones are from 400 BC, and some of the more recent ones are like 600. There's some in the 700s.
I should have asked them like what today's date is in the Barovian date system.
Is this big statue Sora is standing beside a thing? Or is it just flavor?
It's a statue of what looks to be an angel with its hands outstretched. It's a kind of just a divine sort of image.
Is it a weeping angel?
I was gonna say.
It's not weeping.
Let me see if I can read. I'm seeing nothing revealed. There we go. Never mind. Now I've got it. Thanks.
I refreshed and everything's working a lot better for me now.
Same thing for me. Smoother too.
What's
Ooh,
this
yeah, for me
structure?
too.
Is that a mausoleum?
It is. Yep.
Is there like a family name or anything on it?
Oh, that was a loud noise.
It was probably one of his books falling down over the edge.
Yeah.
He had quite a few on his bed.
There's no names on the outside, but there's a little gate, and the gate's closed. And there's a little lock on it, and inside you see two sarcophaguses standing side by side.
Could you give me vision, please, Crane?
Where you going, Trev?
It's probably just lagging.
No, it's just I'm up north on the top.
God, where did you go?
I went outside the fog, and now I can't see myself.
Okay.
There I am.
And
You found the edge of the world.
Yeah, you found the edge of the world, my man.
Yeah. Again.
It's hard to know. I
Thank
guess,
you.
If I put fog on here.
Yeah. So, is there anything of note in this graveyard that looks out of place, odd? Like something's recently come up, something's recently gone down?
No, just tightly packed gravestones. There's a slight mist in the air, and they just bear the names of souls long past. All seems quiet.
There's no like fresh gravestones from the last couple weeks.
There's like exposed earth, but it's settled. There's no grass on it. But yeah, there's a few new plots that have been filled, and that would be consistent with what you remember from there being a battle, over the last 2 weeks.
Is there a
So,
name on this mausoleum?
There's no name on the mausoleum now.
There was a lock on it. There was no plaque or anything on the angel statue.
No plaque.
All right. Desecrated church. Big mausoleum.
What time is it? Would you say?
It's approaching supper time. The
Well, I would.
the sun is beginning to sort of darken. So the sky is starting to darken. You think you might have maybe another. It's late autumn. You probably have maybe another half an hour to an hour of sunlight left.
I'm gonna say we not be late for supper.
Yeah, I was
Since
gonna
our
say.
generous host is offering to feed and put us up tonight. I say we be punctual guests.
I want another crack at that lock. Can I make another try at it?
No, you're not gonna get it.
I will guidance you 2 times, and then I'm leaving.
I'll give you another crack at it. Go ahead.
You said it's a big lock. Can we break it?
Try to break it. You can certainly try.
I didn't buy a crowbar.
My.
I have a crowbar.
Very hard.
I'm gonna, while he's messing with the lock, be reading through the prayer book just to look for like any.
I give up. I can't. That's 9 rolls, and I can't roll above a 12. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
That is mathematically impossible.
to get into the church. You rolled like a 22, like on your second roll.
I know.
We could still be outside the church with your rolls.
Peering in the windows.
Where it is.
So you guys are going back to the center of town?
Yep.
Okay.
I think so. Well,
Okay. You can close owlbear radio for that portion.
yeah, so we'll head to the manor.
Okay. Stand by one.
Ooh. I had a spell I should have done in the church.
What was that?
One of the features of Detect Good and Evil is it tells you if a place has been magically consecrated or desecrated. I need to know my spells a little better.
That's tough, right? Is studying your character sheet so that you're kind of like ready to go. It takes a while, right?
Well, even like the critical role folks, sometimes Matt Mercer has to tell them what their spell can do.
Yeah, they all have it memorized and they have no idea what it does. So
Yeah.
that's very true. So as you guys are walking down the road back towards the Burgomaster's mansion, you can see that dusk light is deepening quite quickly, and obviously the sun has set, over the hills to the east, and once it kind of crests that point in time, like it just suddenly just becomes very very dark. The overcast nature of Barovia means that when the sun goes down, it gets dark fairly quickly. As you're walking toward that manor in the distance, you can see what looks to be a cheerful plume of smoke is bobbing up from the brick chimney. So there's a good fire going inside. Getting a little closer, you see a weary-looking mansion squatted behind a rusting iron fence. The iron gates, however, are twisted and torn. The right gate lies cast aside, while the left swings lazily in a soft wind. The stuttering squeal and the clang of the gate repeats with mindless precision. Weeds choke the grounds and press with menace upon the house itself. Yet, against the walls, the growth has been tramped down to create a path all about the domain. Heavy claw markings have stripped the once beautiful finish of the walls. Great black marks tell of the fires that have assailed the mansion. Not a pane nor a shard of glass stands in any window. All the windows are barred with planks, each one marked with stains of evil omen. So you're standing outside the mansion.
In we go.
Yep.
The door opens easily. It's not locked. The interior of the mansion is well furnished, yet the fixtures show signs of great wear. Noticeable oddities are the boarded up windows and the presence of holy symbols in every room. As you enter, you notice the Burgomaster himself, the Ismark's father. He's lying in a side drying room on the floor. Very visible as you walk in. You notice it right off to the left. It's a dead body. He's lying in a simple wooden coffin, and the coffin is surrounded by wilting flowers, and you detect a faint odor of decay. It looks as though the body is sort of like lying in state, if you will. Just at a glance, you can see that Kulian's corpse still bears the wounds that killed him. You can see a deep gash on his forehead, and there is multiple lacerations across his chest. He's wearing a very simple like burial gown of white linen, but you can see, very obviously that there's trauma to the body. You hear like whispers coming from an opening to your right. There's a sort of like a larger hall. Let me just pull up an image right here so I can get an idea. Yeah, so there's a larger hall that kind of has this long red rug that goes kind of further on. There's a number of doors on the left and right, and there's stairs on your immediate right. There's 2 doors on the right side of the hall, 2 doors on the left side of the hall, and then Kolian is sort of like in a little ante-chamber sort of thing to your immediate right. And then there's another door that's open, and you hear voices coming from that direction, and that's on your immediate left. Oh, you're muted.
Turn and knock on the door. We hear voices coming from. Or is it open?
You're knocking on the door?
Yeah.
Okay. So the door is sort of open, so by knocking on the door, the voices immediately stop, and the door kind of slowly pulls open, and you can see Ismark standing there, and he's speaking quietly with Irina. He stops as soon as he sees that you're in the manor. He turns to the right, and his what looks to be strained features, like as if he was troubled with something, immediately disappears, broken with pleasure at seeing you guys in his home. And he kind of pulls his hands out to gesturing towards you. Welcome to my home, he says. It is seen fairer days, as you can see from the outside, but it is home. My home is your home. You're welcome to stay here. And then he gestures to his side, and you see a young woman wearing elegant clothing, nicely spun, nicely stitched clothing, good quality, well taken care of. Plain colors, though. There's not a lot of color, but she does have a thick red scarf around her neck, and it looks like it's hand knit. It looks like a well treasured part of her wardrobe. She has fair complexion, what looks to be like sort of a dark blonde, strawberry blonde, sort of red hair. It's slightly curly and it hangs around her shoulders. She has soft freckles around her nose. She's tall. She stands at about 5'10", 5'9", well built. There's also a sword girded onto her right side, and she looks at you with intent eyes, like she's studying you. She looks capable. She looks durable, if I can use an expression. And she looks at Ismark as the group of you here are standing sort of in the center hall, and she kind of gestures with her head as if to welcome you inside this almost like a sitting chamber. And you can see from behind the two of them, there's a couple chairs and there's a couch along one end, and what looks to be like a coffee table and a circular rug in the center. And there's a little brass brazier that has a couple pieces of wood, and it's sputtering along pleasantly inside. So she's gesturing you to like welcoming you inside.
Well, we walk in and thank him for the generous invitation.
Irina turns to Ismark and kind of mentions, "This is unusual. You don't usually invite random travelers into our home." And Ismark kind of blushes for a moment, and it says, "These people, they have recently arrived in the village, and they've indicated they'd like to go to Valiki. And I mentioned that and he kind of looks down at his hand and maybe picks an imaginary piece of skin on his hand, almost like bashful, that maybe you could go with them. to Veliki. And her expression immediately changes as if she's upset by this news. And you can see them kind of exchanging, a look between the two of them.
Cora will chime in and say, "Wow, siblings. Know what that's like."
She kind of turns to you and offers you a very grim grin. Like she recognizes the humor of the comment, but also is still somewhat pissed off at Ismark's suggestion that she's going to leave. She turns to Ismark again, her mane of like red curls tousling about her, and she says, "Can I talk to you in the hall, please?" And Ismark kind of nods and then kind of looks over to the group of you with a pitying expression and follows Irina out into the hall, where you hear them having a murmured conversation.
Golding.
It
Pardon me?
doesn't sound like she wants to join us to Veliki. Do you think that he's just trying to get her out of here and she wants to stay?
I'm gonna guess that it's a, siblings trying to protect her. She doesn't think she needs protection.
She
kind
doesn't
of
look like she
scenario.
needs protection.
Yeah, but siblings sometimes don't have the clearest view. You remember what your sibling was like as a child. Maybe not realize that they've grown into themselves. At least that's how it works in my family sometimes.
The murmurings continue. You can almost make out words, but you can't really tell.
Can I make a stealth check and sneak closer to the door
You can certainly
to try and overhear them?
You
Can I
certainly try.
can I send the rat over by the door and have the rat listen for
The
me?
rat would also need to make a stealth check.
Are rats stealthy?
I mean, they're small.
That was what I was thinking. Even if they see the rat, like it's just a rat.
I would allow either a stealth check to get closer to listen, or a wisdom check to perceive better, like a perception check.
Turns out rats are neither dexterous nor wise.
Well, that's a pretty good roll, love. Okay, so are you leaving the room, or are you mostly just
No, I don't want to attract any attention. So I'm just going to move closer to the door so I can overhear their conversation.
Okay. So the murmurs from the hall outside are largely indistinct. However, you can hear that they're obscured by low groans from the old house's timbers as the wind begins to pick up. You strain your elven ears, and the siblings' words slowly come into focus, especially with that roll of 19. Irina's voice, sharp with indignation, pierces the silence. "You had no right, Ismark. You can't just decide to send me away without even discussing it with me first. This village still needs help with rebuilding. We can't just abandon them." Ismark's reply is measured, though it's laced with an unmistakable note of worry. "Strahd still has his sights on you. And even if we don't believe the legend about women with red hair, others might. Barovia just isn't safe for you anymore." A snort of defiance echoes from the other side of the thin wooden partition. "I am no coward, Ismark. I will not abandon our friends and neighbors in their hour of need." There's a pause then. Ismark says, very quietly, "Gertruda is gone." You hear a choked sob coming from the direction where you suspect Irina is standing. "No. She must have gone after Doru," Ismark murmurs. "I told her to give up on him, to accept that he must simply be dead, but I don't think she ever could." There's a long, suffering silence. And then Ismark seems to hesitate, his words slightly fumbled. "I'm not asking you to abandon them, but there are others who need your help. Think about our neighbors who fled for Vallaki. They need guidance, advocacy, and perhaps a leader to bring them home one day." There's a long pause, filled only with the muffled sounds of low, haggard breaths. Irina's voice is low when she finally speaks, barely even audible. Do you truly see no other way? Ismark's response is quiet. It's your choice. I can't take that away from you, but after losing father, I can't. I can't bear the thought of losing you too. The silence that follows is palpable, weighted with unspoken emotions. Finally, Irina's voice breaks it, fragile and quiet. I will go, if only for you, but on one condition. Irina's next words are too quiet to hear. You can hear the volume of their voices drop to an imperceptible whisper. After a few moments of this, you hear movement as if they're coming back into the room.
Move back to my position quickly, quietly. Act like I wasn't listening.
Okay. As they enter the room, Cora, you notice that they both have blotchy red eyes. The rims of their eyes are kind of red, as if they had been crying. Sorry, what?
I'll ask them if they're okay. Can we do anything?
Irina kind of wanders off to the side, and you can see her sort of dabbing her eyes with what looks to be a little handkerchief that she pulled out of her clothing. And Ismark looks at Cora and nods slowly after speaking. This is a tough thing that we have been dealing with, but yes, as we spoke before, if you would be willing, if you are going to Valaki, to take Irina with you. And he pauses to look over at her, and she kind of looks at him, and she nods her head again. Tomorrow morning, we will be burying our father before daybreak. So if you could assist me with this, transporting his coffin to the church tomorrow morning, and with that done, then you could leave for Valaki if that is still something that you wish to do.
Is anyone performing the service tomorrow?
Father Donovich, he's taking care of the church, and he's agreed to bury my father. I spoke with him 2 days ago. Have not seen him since, but yeah, he will. He usually will take care of the service.
Could you tell me a little bit about the church in town? It looks very similar to my god, but the symbol is a little bit different. I'm wondering if it's the same or not.
The church is to the Dawn Father, the Morning Lord, we call him. Most Barovians, hundreds of years ago, worshipped the Morning Lord, and it wasn't until recently, my father tells us, that it has been difficult to pray to him and know that he is listening. But we still have faith. What is your god you speak of?
His name is Lathander.
Lathander.
He is also associated with Dawn.
Perhaps he is one and the same. Who is to say? I not know the matters of gods, like Father Donovich, or perhaps yourself.
Is Father Donovich, he'll be there performing the ceremony tomorrow? I'd be able to perhaps discuss the similarities a little bit at that point.
Certainly. There is something you should know about the father. His son Doru, I believe I mentioned this, the blood of the vine, was the one who went to Castle Ravenloft and never returned. The father is different since that happened. Maybe small talk is not something he's very good at, if you know what I mean.
A loss can be very difficult.
He sort of glances over at the body of his father and turns back to you and nods slowly.
Does anyone else want to say anything?
I will say that I have old Eric has a rabbit for me. I have to go pick up. Make you some food tonight with that rabbit, if you give me a moment. I will have hot food, and Irina can get you settled in. We have 2 guest bedrooms available to you. And yes, we eat, and you have a safe, warm place to sleep. And yeah, if you have any questions for my sister, perhaps she can be more informative than me. And then he sort of nods and grabs a cloak from a cloak peg off the side of the outside of the door there and disappears into the night.
Is Irina still there?
She is. Yep, she's tucking the handkerchief back into her clothing.
So thank her for the hospitality. Ask her if we should retire to our rooms until dinner.
But of course, you can refreshen yourselves up. I myself am going to do the same. If you have any questions for me, you do not look like you are from here. By all means, I can answer what I can. But if you'd like to freshen up before dinner, then I can show you to your rooms.
I think we should, because that would be a good place to
stop. Yeah.
and then we can ask questions over dinner or before dinner or
Yeah.
whatever.
Over dinner, I was planning to ask about the midnight graveyard thing that we had.
It's a good opportunity for
Maybe
you guys
make a note to ask that next time.
So we can say, if everyone's okay with that, we can say that Irina will show you to your rooms. There's 2 guest bedrooms, and there is 3 beds in each. It looks like they used to be more dedicated bedrooms, but maybe they've been converted lately into like almost like a field hospital. But they've been cleaned up, and there's new linens on the beds, and they look comfortable, and they've been cleaned, and it looks like a pretty easy place to rest. The mattresses are nice, and the pillows are comfortable, and the blankets are warm. There's wash basins in your bedrooms to washing up, to clean the grime off your body, as it were. You guys have been on the road for the last 2 days here, and in battle as well, so you're kind of filthy. Yeah, so we can stop there, and when we resume tomorrow, Ismark will return, and you guys can break your fast.
Did you just say resume tomorrow?
I may have.
Just gonna point out that we're not resuming tomorrow.
Yeah, we're not resuming tomorrow. Having said that, though, looking at my calendar, what is everybody's schedule like over the next several weeks? I know that American Thanksgiving is here.
Yeah, other than Thanksgiving Day itself, I'm wide open.
Iris is not, because I think she's traveling.
No. I could.
Go ahead.
I could maybe do the 25th, but I will have just driven for like 12 hours. So.
The 25th is our Canaan night. We're doing D&D on the 25th for Canaan.
Yep. So no 25th.
Although I could switch it to the Friday, but I'd have to ask the family about that. But I could theoretically switch the 25th to the 24th to open up the 25th. But 12 hours is a long time to drive and then play D&D for 4 hours.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'd rather not too, because like, what if I get stuck in traffic, or you never know. Like,
100%.
I'll be available on the 26th pretty much all day, but I don't know that we want to do.
I'm open on the 26th, but it can't be late. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got work. Most people work on Monday.
I do have work on Monday, yeah. I could do, like, we could... Yeah, we can't really do one in the... I mean, we could stop at an hour ago. Like, we could still do, like, a 3-hour session if you wanted to do, like, from 7 p.m. to, like, 10 p.m. That's doable for me, but I don't know if it's doable for you guys.
Works for me.
Yeah, we can aim for that. I was going to say the 1st or 2nd. I should be available for either of those days.
We will not be available the 2nd, and
it is Edama's
probably
birthday.
Not the 1st.
It is Edama's birthday on the 2nd, and we're not available on the 1st because that is the night that we're celebrating Sinterklaas. Yeah.
Okay, we'll aim for Sunday afternoon, and then we can go from there. If that works for Justin J.
I am not entirely sure, but I will keep you guys posted.
Cool.
Okay.
Perfect.
Tentatively say the 26th, unless something comes up for Jester J.
Okay.
All right.
Like sometime in the afternoon, or are we doing in the evening? What are we?
It would still have to be in the evening just because of Ben. If
Okay.
he knew that we were playing D&D and he's not in bed, I'm not entirely sure he would not stay out of the office. Like he would want to be around and hearing it and being part of it and playing it. And, yeah.
Maybe
Telling
not
you
the
guys
best,
what to do.
Yeah.
maybe not the best thing with Barovia's content.
Not.
Yeah.
Not entirely, no.
Yeah, as long as we keep it short, I think that should be fine.
Yep, that's doable. I'm up for short, and these sessions are easy to do short because like there's no combat this time around, right? Like this was just all you guys getting your feet, getting under your feet here in the village.
Yeah, sounds good.
I was gonna say you guys could you could vote to have one of you guys get an inspiration point, but you guys all have inspiration points.
Yeah, we didn't use any. I could have used them on the lock, but it wouldn't have helped.
I just would have wasted it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question? Because I think I might have misinterpreted something a little bit.
Sure.
The church, it looked pretty bad and damaged, right?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look like it looked like it had been used like in the last couple of weeks though, prior to the damage.
Absolutely. Yeah. The
Okay. Yeah, I misinterpreted that a little bit.
yeah. So I think I said at one point that it looks like the trauma that it incurred was recent trauma, and that it didn't look like the Durst Manor. It looked like ordinarily this would be a place of worship, and that the smocks hanging up in the wardrobe were like recently laundered and well maintained.
Yeah, it just didn't really sink in.
Yeah, it's okay. You did steal his prayer book.
I did. I will probably give it back. I would not have stealed it if I had realized it looked that recent. I was thinking it was like a little bit older and more abandoned, but like
should-
obviously not abandoned.
You should
I don't
wander over.
know.
I can't
If-
wait for that to happen. By the way, how you're gonna pull that off? If
If
I were
we go
you,
back, if we go back at midnight, maybe I'll just slip it in.
you do have a rogue friend that you could be like, listen.
Yeah, I
need your
can
help.
reverse pickpocket him if you need to.
Can you
Here's-
please help a sister out?
I might.
I was not expecting you guys to go to the church like right away. I was expecting you to go to the manor, but I loved it. I loved every bit of it. I had to quickly adapt.
You're like, oh wait, none of this bad shit's here yet.
Yeah, I was like, and you hear the soft. That's good. Well, with that, guys, I'm going to hit the stop recording button.